him up. I bring him up, right? Oh. yeah. Man, definitely. Shout out to the Good morning, party people. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, man?
Good morning, man.
Hip hop's in the building, man. This is hip hop.
Yeah.
This is hip hop, man.
Could y'all hear me good?
I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Hear you nice and clear, brother.
Making sure.
The hip hop. Today is hip hop, man. This is something that's serious because I grew up in the older 49. Let me be precise. And growing in hip hop as a young man, I come from the first generation of hip hop. I wasn't rap, like basically the ending of the first generation of hip hop, block parties in the 70s. And I never envisioned that hip hop would be where I speak to a man or two men that was working for corporations, corporate American hip hop. Because when I was listening to hip hop, dudes just riding in the parks.
Right.
Just riding on trains. There wasn't a big payday. A block house party cost 50 cents to get in. You know what I'm saying? Where now, for MCs and rappers to come in the building, people were paying for top dollar $100,000, $20,000. And you guys pushed the culture all the way forward. I'm from East Harlem. He's from Mount Vernon. You're from Harlem.
Yes, sir.
What was
Uptown? I said uptown.
Uptown, yeah, that's a fact.
That's the whole uptown right there. The bottom. You know what I'm saying?
The Diddy Rock and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're from Harlem or anywhere past Harlem is uptown.
It's uptown. That's a fact.
I didn't say he's from uptown, man. That's exactly what the good brothers are saying. Where he from? He from uptown, man.
Yeah. They say we from downtown.
That's a fact.
That's you know what I'm saying? They be like, y'all from downtown. You know what I'm saying?
They always make downtown sound timid. They don't say like, yeah, from downtown. They be like, yo, downtown. Yo, son, on my block. But they don't go past my block, son.
Yeah, it'll get territorial on you real fast because then you have somebody from the Lower East Side and they will be straight prejudice against all that. They claim all that territory. So they'll be like, nah, that's not downtown. We downtown. Yeah.
No, but that's like when guy from Modi said, I live downtown, 129th Street, Compton, everything. You know what I mean? Because everything was happening in the Bronx. So if everything's happening in the Bronx, you know what I mean? 129th is downtown.
Right.
They definitely calling it that. You know what I mean?
See, I love that energy right there, man. When you come into somebody else and pause on that. That was crazy talk. But when you come in connection with somebody and they have that energy of the pure hip hop, bro. And I think, of course we're going to get into your start as a professional in hip hop, right? But it starts before that. I know mine did. It started like the whole time I was in high school. I'm thinking I got to get downtown. And to the point where I'm just cutting school, trying to go to the labels where things are happening,
Right. Gotcha.
And I love that energy about you because it takes nothing. Even when we first met you in the comment section, your energy, your hip hop energy was vibrant. You like, yo, this is hip hop.
Yeah, no, because that was my thing. Like what you said makes sense because I always looked at myself as a professional fan. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like when I worked with Jay, it was like I'm kind of like his first fan as far as shit bouncing off of me. So it's like I'm a fan first. I don't work with nobody if I'm not a fan. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I gotta like you. Then I'm just trying to get you to do the stuff that I like. You know what I'm saying? Or get you to the best, other people to the point where you expose yourself to other people and things like that. But it all comes from, like you said, just being a fan of the culture and, coming up on NWA and, you know what I mean? And just whatever that type of stuff and hearing them albums where it was like straight through or, Raekwon, Wu-Tang, whatever it was just things that I took with me and, and that's all I knew. So it wasn't like any schooling or anything. It was just like me being a fan of the culture I was right in place to put it to work, and I was still young, so I was like the core fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like it was natural. It wasn't like because now I would have to work with a drill artist. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
I would have to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? Like what's going on? Who's these people? What's the lingo? Who's the producers? But when I came up, it was just organic. It was natural.
Let's start right there, hip hop. Not to cut your wisdom. Let's bring it all the way back, okay? Because to me, I remembered your name, but I remembered the second part. Remember last week I was like, it starts with a K, right? And then Zeke was like, it was Joshua. So I was like, why was I way off like that? But your last name didn't.
Joshua.
It is Joshua. Okay, so where does the K come in? Where does the K?
My name is Kiambo Joshua.
There we go. So I said it starts with a K, but it sounded African. I mentioned that. So okay,
now,
so
I'm from the Virgin Islands.
Okay,
I'm from St. Thomas.
Okay,
yeah.
And was your family from the Virgin Islands, and then you got here later on, or were you actually born there and then they brought you up? How did that story go right there?
That's an interesting story. Because it's definitely a little bit of both. So my mother, I'm born 78, April 78. So if you go back 9 months, that's the New York City blackout.
Bingo, facts. Yep.
You feel me? So
VCRs.
my mother was a stewardess for Pan Am. So she worked back and forth from St. Thomas to New York City. That was her flight. You know what I'm saying? So when the blackout happened, she couldn't go back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And then when she finally went back, she was sick and she know that she was pregnant.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So then she said, I want to have my son in New York. I want to raise my kid in New York.
Right.
Yeah. So she left St. Thomas at that point to come to New York. You know what I'm saying? But they was kind of not really, she was young. So they was like, they didn't want her to stay there. So, she moved to her 19th Street where my grandfather lived. And then basically had me in Harlem Hospital in 78.
See?
So,
okay.
So she was, so it was like, it could have been, it could have been a whole different life. You know what I'm saying? Just
right.
That decision
right.
that, you know what I'm saying, really brought me here in Harlem in 78, which, the name come from, and it just kind of just aligned me with, the culture. You know what I mean? Not really being there from day one, obviously, because it was, it was parties probably down the block from the hospital when I was being born. But as far as just just the timeline of just living, you know what I'm saying, around that time to where it's like, okay, anything I don't know, I could go right to my brother, I could go right to Kids on the Block or whatever, stuff like that. It was just a natural thing of just hearing it. But when I was coming of age was the time, you know what I'm saying? That was the golden era by the time.
How many brothers? How many brothers and sisters?
My father has 9 boys and 3 girls. I have 9 brothers and 3 sisters.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Right? Yeah. Overall, so they all mainly from St. Thomas, and most of them live here. Or actually, all live in America, basically. Yeah.
Okay. How many did you grow up with in the house? Was you the only child, or was there a big brother like you said?
I grew up with one little brother in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, one little brother lived in the house. Like my mom's had 2 kids, me and my little brother.
Oh,
you and your
my
little brother
got a bunch of kids. That's, you know what I'm saying, was like one was a block away from me. You know what I mean? A few of them was around. You know what I mean? So I knew them. You know what I'm saying?
You knew them. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'll see them at Rucker. I see them at the games or university or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I would bump into them. And then, they end up taking me home and stuff like that, basically. Shit like
Damn, that's so dope. Being around you for the short period I was around you, and shout out to the people that brought me in, Lindy Santiago, Omieli, Dara, Shaka, Carlene, the whole team, Bobby Dash, all your peoples, you was probably the most reserved out of everybody, bro.
For sure.
And I was like, yo, this dude is so serious. How am I gonna crack his barrier, right? But at the same time, I understood why you had that barrier up, because you're A&R. You know, everybody wants to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's I'm like, yo, this dude is the hardest. I'm even talking to Biggs and Dame, everybody except hip hop. He's like so. It wasn't like a hardcore like that, but it was just like, I don't know you, I'm not talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Even Beehive, everybody else was more easy accessible to you. So that type of character, I wanted to know, did it have to? Was some of it your upbringing because you grew up in Harlem? Was it rough for you being the oldest in that household? Did you have to fight a lot, or were you interested in getting in gangs, or were you totally separate into something else? And it's like, I don't care about none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm more into this hip hop or something else.
Right. Yeah, I was definitely like to myself a lot because of the St. Thomas thing. So I would go back and forth a lot. So it's like I'll go to St. Thomas and I'll be talking another way, and then I come back and then I still got an accent. I got to change my accent. And then I'm going, you know what I mean? So I'm going back and forth. So my mom's was real. She wasn't like strict, but she was strict. Like, soon as something happened, she gonna act proactive. You know what I mean? She's gonna like react to that and like, okay, you got to go to St. Thomas. You acting up. Okay, cool. You going to the Bronx this weekend. You can't have too much time on your hands. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go to Millbank. You're gonna go to summer camp. You're gonna go to that school program. You know what I'm saying? So I stayed in something. So I have friends and everything from just main location. So it's like, okay, my block, my basketball team, my high school. When I go to St. Thomas,
you know what's dope? What you just said right there is because I'm from Spanish Harlem, and on the east side we had we had the basketball tournaments. We had a lot of the culture was based off where I was from. What brought us together was basketball. So dudes would be banking with Bank or Rock Gaucho or that thing on Boys Harbor on 6th Street, on 3rd Street, and that brought a lot of us together.
Yes, sir.
I remember the blocks, 119th Street between 5th and Lenox, because on that side was always the west side to me. But then when you cross the street on 5th Avenue, because I remember you had that dirty Chinese restaurant on 116th Street.
116th,
the big building.
That's still there, by the tire spot, right?
Yeah, I don't know how people eat from there. Even I eat from there. I don't know why, but on the corner.
Now, that was legendary. That was a legendary
spot. I remember when we brought these neighborhoods together, as crazy as it sounds, Saladin, basketball.
Nah, 100%.
Drugs. They're not. Drugs
100%.
destroyed the community. It showed the show, but basketball is what brought me to his block play ball. Because everybody wanted to be Chris Mullin. Everybody wanted to be Walter Berry. Everybody wanted to be
Malik Sealy.
Yeah, everybody wanted to be. But we watched it on TV. Yo, I want to be Patrick Ewing. And what I'm saying this for, because the side of the block that he lived on was like my block. My block, because I was on 98th Street, everything in my school zone was downtown on the Upper East Side. His part of the block, even though he's on the west side, was still considered
East Side.
East Side.
East Side. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It was like going to school.
Yeah, so that's why I'm Richmond. So, yeah, because most of my friends is from the East Side. You know what I'm saying? Because I went to Richmond.
Yes.
And everybody from that school is basically either from AK, Wagner, 1199, Taino, you know what I mean? All of, Washington's, all of that, you know what I mean? So it kind of pushed me there. Like uptown was different. Like I didn't really go uptown until like later on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was damn near like going to the Bronx. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like going up 45th and 8th or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that. That was a big, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? A big, what you call it, jump. But just being around the East Side, that was more normal. Like Foster Projects, that was like a second home for me growing up. Just because, like, if you know back then from 19th to like 16th, it was a school there, but then it was a junkyard.
You have the
You know
junkyard.
what I mean? So it was nothing. It was
Nothing.
nothing from like 19 to 15th. It was
Yep.
really no real activity. Nobody lived there.
Yeah.
So our blocks is like almost like it's the next block over. That's how close we was to like 15th Street in that area. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why, you know, me growing up, my best friend was Chi-Chi and the FEB and everybody from, you know, from 15th Street, Forster, you know what I mean? I played ball over there. Everybody went to Millbank. So, you know what I mean? So it's like those neutralizers, those things that's in the middle where it's like, okay, Millbank on her 18th Street. So you're going to get everybody from 110th all the way to 118th and maybe all the way to 125th,
Yes.
118th from 8th, probably all the way to Lexington. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole circumference is going to be cool. So that's how I got in the game really is through Cameron. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew Cam since like 87. You know what I'm saying? Like playing in Millbank, playing basketball and in-house. You know what I mean? So
LaGuardia House. You ever played at LaGuardia House?
LaGuardia House for sure. Right around the corner, they have the Chinese restaurant there too.
Facts.
Okay, so you actually played for a high school team or a middle school team? Did you get to play?
Yeah. I played with Millbank. With Millbank, but I played with Julia Richmond High School. I played varsity.
You played varsity. Okay.
Yeah. I played with like Ali Mo.
That's when he
played with
played
Ali Mo and all that. Like
Yeah.
Mo.
This is good for me to know because I just don't want to get cheated out of my money by underestimating you later on in life. Like he can't play, and the next thing you know, you shoot my eyes out because I underestimated. Great.
Facts.
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely like no. But just to answer your question, what you said earlier, as far as when you met me and the way I was, it was like it was more shock than anything. It was like I was coming out of high school in another environment. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, you know, focused. You know what I mean? I was like not trying to drop the ball. I was
Not
like
trying to drop the ball.
I had my brother, he was over me. So that was a different type of pressure. Dame and Jade and people like you said, everybody you named, Be High, like they was all there. So it was really like
it was a family setting there. That's what I would give, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
It was a family business, like a diner.
Exactly. I always thought being in high school, I was going to work for Puff Daddy and Bad Boy because I'm from Mount Vernon, New York, and I'm like, there's no way in the world I'm not working for Bad Boy, right? There's no way in the world. And I'm trying my hardest through my connections in Mount Vernon. It's not happening. You understand? And then just something crazy where I go to, like I said, I interview H-Town one day, KG from Naughty by Nature. I'm following him. It's Dame Dash's birthday party. I meet Lindsay Santiago and it's on, right? So being down there though, I'm like, are all record labels like this? Because everyone seems like family here. I swear to God. Yeah, it's like family here, bro. And everyone is like looking out for you and they want to know your best. Especially the females, they want to know your best interest, and even the dudes. Like I said, the most standoffish one you're gonna get in that building was hip hop.
Now, Saladin, let me tell you something that's crazy. I know B-High's son because his son raps in a rap crew called MMB. So his son, B-High's son, is a rapper.
Oh, okay.
I know his son. A good friend of mine's Veli. That's a friend in Brooklyn. And these are the nephews and the kids. My man Veli MMB, they have a little rap group. So I had a chance to meet B-High's son physically, you know what I'm saying? Definitely shout out to Veli and the whole MMB Brooklyn movement, you know what I'm saying? Young boys, you know what I'm saying? The young boys, the shot the drill thing, and they doing that, you know what I'm saying?
I like what he said though. I like what you said there, hip hop. You said I had just gotten on straight out of high school. So can you tell me that? What was your expectations? Because you're a baller and everything. How did you actually get into the position or that you had attained with Rocafella? Was it just like, yo, somebody going to give you a chance, or did you even want this opportunity? Like, what was your mindset at that time?
Right. Okay. The story it goes. I have a friend named Ashley. My friend Ash, Jet Lag Ash. We played varsity together, me, JV together, me, him, and Duke the God. So Duke the God went to high school with me. So one day, I guess we were just talking about music and stuff, and they was like, we started talking about Jay. Jay had just came out with like a something. He was something on something. I couldn't remember what it was. And they was like, yo, he be in my building. You know what I'm saying? They was like, word? I'm like, for real? And they was like, yeah, you know, Dame Dash. You know, it was Original Flavor. That's what it was. It was the Original Flavor song. And Ski at the time lived in 1199 too.
Ski.
So he lived in Ashley building. So
Right.
my boy Ash, he's basically like, yo, you know, everything that's happening is like not too far from me. Like he's like, yeah, Cam raps now. And I'm like, what Cam? He's like, you know, Cameron Giles. I was like, I know Cam. So and then he's like Mace, and then it's like, oh, I know Mace. So I know these guys from basketball, and now they rapping. And that was kind of like, you know, not to say mind blowing, but it was kind of like inspiring. Like, okay, damn, I guess there's a way. I guess, you know what I mean, people I know could do this. Okay. At the time, you know, I didn't really know no rappers personally. I knew D Nice and people like that, but nobody real personally. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that was, you know, so seeing somebody my age rapping on Big L album, on Stretch Armstrong, and stuff like that really, you know, showed me that, okay, it can happen. So at that point, me and Ash and Duke, we real close. I'm with them all the time in 1199. 1199. So then I get closer with Bloodshed, and I get closer with Cam. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm hanging with them probably most of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even on my block. I'm going over to their block, going to my boy crib. We at Haji's. You know what I'm saying? We over there most of the time. So like through high school, I hung out on the east side, like I said. If I wasn't in 1199, I was in like 8K with my friend Poodle. So basically through that, we'd go to Dame house once in a blue. You know what I'm saying?
Who knew Dame? Who was the connection to Dame?
They all knew Dame because they lived in the same building. So Cam would know him. I remember going one time with Cam and Blood and Ash, so they could be on because they wanted to perform at Mad Wednesdays, Maria Davis.
Maria Davis. Okay, let's go.
They wanted to perform at Maria Davis when it was on 86th Street.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so they went to Dame to try to get on there. Dame called her on the spot. I remember, you know, trying to get them on. She got them on the you know, on the bill. So they end up performing. You know, so it's just regular stuff. I'm just there, the other person. And they're like, yo, that's Bob, brother. So Bob Allah, rest in peace, my big brother, was real close friends with Dame. You know what I'm saying? Right. Way before Biggs.
R.I.P. Bob.
What year?
What year is this?
You're talking about 1991, 1990?
No, this is like 93, 90. No, this is got to be like 94.
Got to be like 94. Yeah.
This is 94. This is around 94. This is around the time of Get Money remix. Boom, around that time. So because I remember that was one of my entries was that I had the Get Money remix and Dame didn't hear it and I played it for him and he was like, where you get this from? You know what I mean? So that kind of started it. You know what I'm saying? Me having new songs, me knowing stuff, kind of, you know what I mean, kind of got him to be like, every time I came, I had something. So then one time they wanted Jay and Big L freestyle. You know, they wanted that. So they was like, yo, who got it? And then he was with Biggs, and Biggs was like, yo, my brother got it. So they called me, said they want a copy. They came to my house on 119, picked it up. I gave them the tape, and Dame was like, damn, you be having everything. You know what I'm saying? So it just went from there to there. So next thing you know, we all together, and we go up to Stretch Armstrong. No. It's one day Jay have like a bunch of shows. He have like 3 different shows in one night. One of them ain't damn near had nobody there, but we just go for show. Yeah, and then the last thing we did.
So at this time, hold that door. At this time, Dame Dash is actually managing Jay-Z. Is that what you telling us?
He managing Jay-Z. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
They started Rocafella already. Yeah. Because I remember when they started Rocafella, it was like I remember my brother telling me on the way home from a game. We had a game. He came to my game. Against Manhattan Center, Rich Parker, Cam, everybody.
Exactly.
I played against them. We, you know what I'm saying? We lost. I'm going home. He's like, yo, I'm about to start a record label with Dame and Jay. And I was like, I was like, oh wow, you know what I'm saying? So at that point, it was like I didn't know what that mean.
Right,
But
right.
I'm like, okay, cool. So when we get together, it would just be like some family, like everybody going to eat. It's somebody's birthday, whatever. You know what I mean? Like them type of occasions. It'll be like we go to BBQs on 72nd.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that's
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's where I got my name at. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because
Oh,
so that's how it came to hip hop, because my name is Kiambo, and I remember Jay was on the mic and he was gonna shout me out,
Yes.
and he just said, "And Big's brother." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
right.
He pointed at me and said, "Big's brother," and then next thing you know, when he got off the stage, I mean not off the stage, but out the studio, because we was on Stretch and Armstrong, and he said, "Yo, how you say your name again?" And I was like, "Kiambo." He's like, "Okay, we got to get you a nickname." So then,
Right.
so the next time when we was at, the BBQs, that like, a few days after that, they just went through some shit. Dame was like, "Yo, your name is hip hop because you know all about hip hop. You got all the hip hop." You know what I'm saying? Every time I need hip hop, whatever, So Dame gave me that name before I was working with Rocafella. I was just around.
Wow, man.
That's history right there, bro.
That's history right
That's
there.
history.
Words manifest. Words mean so much. You understand? And you speak and manifest things. And that's so amazing that your aura, that's what they came up with when they thought about you, because of something you was already living. That was a truth you was living. You was into getting white label things. You understand? And I'm pointing these things out because the things he's talking about to the audience, these were real hip hop experiences that we look forward to. You see how he said he was the only one that had the instrument or the acapella, the freestyles and all of that. That was a big thing to get something white label. That means something somebody else did not have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo, it's crazy. You know what's crazy is that when he mentioned Stretch Armstrong, sorry for cutting you off. He brought me back to my time. College radio was big for hip hop artists, for music, because commercial radio wasn't like Hot 97. You had to be a who's who for them to the less evil your music.
Yeah.
Stretch Armstrong and Bobito was big. It was just like in Albany, New York, college radio was big. Like WCDB. Shout out to my cousin Passion, my man Chris Cool that was on VC Biz. These guys was pushing these. So now we got Kiambo, who has a record of Big L and JT freestyling, rhyming on the record.
Yeah,
Black's taking the play, but I'm gonna go to Stretch and Armstrong because their show is based on this type of music.
Yes, 100%. They gave me they gave me my taste. That's where I got my taste. That's where I got my edge from. Like you said, it was like I was known for that. Like most people on my block could be like, "Yo, you played this for me. You played Mob Style, NWA, Snoop, whatever." You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be the one that kind of will introduce people to stuff on the music side. Cause I go way downtown, the Tower or whatever, HMVs, and I was stealing.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was acting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shout out to the low lives. Yeah.
So exactly. So, I never stole clothes or nothing. Like I only stole cassette tapes. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I spent my money on the mixtapes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you couldn't steal no mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Them shits is like behind the glass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In the record store and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting that. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy you say college radio because that's what I started doing first.
Right.
I started doing college radio with Ray Ray.
Okay.
And that was my first thing, into the industry was that. But that's speeding up. So basically, after the hip hop thing came about, I would be around a lot, but I'm still in high school. So I remember one day my brother gave me the address to John Street. He was like, "Yo, come to 17 John Street after school." And I'm like, okay, this should look weird to me. I don't even know, like John. I've never even heard of these names. I've done streets of numbers. You know what I'm saying? That shit was a little weird. I'm like, okay, cool. So a chick I knew where it was. You know what I mean? She was my close friend in school. I'm like, "Yo, what is this at?" She's like, oh, that's right by Century 21. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I can take you there. So she literally took me right there to the front door and everything. I was like, all right, cool. So I go upstairs. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm thinking, I don't know why he's asking me to meet him there. You know, it just so happened when I get up there, it's Dame, Jay, Biggs, Tata, Beehive, Irv Gotti, Ray, because Irv was DJ at the time, DJ Irv.
Right. There was no Murder Inc. at this time.
Oh, nah, no Murder Inc. It was DJ Irv and MPV.
Got you.
MPV, that's right.
So that, yeah, so they're all in a circle because they're in an empty office with no furniture.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But it got a desk and it got like a desk and a radio. And they play 3 records. They play Dead Presidents, they play Politics, and they play another record called Hot that never came out. And they basically asking everybody what should be the first single. What should be the first single? You know what I'm saying? What should be the first record? Everybody picks, most people pick Politics. But I remember one guy picked Dead Presidents because he said the Nas sample. He was like, yo, the Nas sample would definitely be, you know what I'm saying? Like that could work. And he was the radio guy. He was the radio guy, my man Garnett. Garnett, God rest in peace. Garnett Reed.
Garnett, right.
Garnett Reed was him and Ray Ray was the radio guys that had experience.
Yes.
So they basically was there to give them, you know, because they're gonna work the record. They're about to take whatever $5,000 and go work the record, you know, locally, do the street team stuff and everything. So they picked Dead Presidents, and it wasn't like, because when we released the first single, Dead President, Ain't No Nigga wasn't made. You know what I'm saying? So the B-side of the first single had like snippets of like Can I Live, snippets of Dr. Hustle. You know what I mean? If you define it, it's online. It's called a listening party. And they got like, it just goes through it. And they got Dame and Tata talking in the middle. It's an interesting piece of audio. But as far as by the time we got a deal and stuff really started moving, they needed legit B-sides. Ain't No Nigga just got made. And I remember Irv Gotti coming in and being
Can
like,
you stop right there? Stop right there. I'm sorry. I remember you said Irv Gotti. And so that's what we're gonna take. That's what we're gonna come back from. But I want to ask you this because we was talking about this on my show last night. So basically, at this point, you guys went and got an office, but it didn't sound like you had a deal yet. So were you planning to come out independent? That's what y'all guys were doing. You guys went and got an office downtown, and you didn't care that you had a record deal or not. You guys were going to go through with this.
Yeah, I think they had a single deal. With this company called Freeze.
Freeze Records. Yeah.
Freeze Records used to be Sleeping Bag.
Bingo. Yeah.
So that, you know what I mean? So that's like the guys from EPMD.
Ooh, EPMD, Mantronics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Just Ice.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they was like, Pete, listen to my demo, that's what they talking about. Will Salk and all of those. Will Salk and all of that.
First album.
Nice and Smooth, first album. Yeah. So they sold their company to Def Jam.
Yeah, bingo. Remember that? Yeah.
That's why EPMD and Nice and Smooth ended up on Def Jam.
Yep.
Because they sold it to them.
It's funky.
But
that was
he still had the vinyl thing going.
Yeah.
He still was doing his singles because he still had the house. He had the Todd Terry and all of that.
Yeah.
So he left hip hop alone. He left hip hop alone and started doing vinyl. But the same guy I mentioned, Ray Ray, knew them. Yeah. So Ray Ray was like, yo, why don't you use this company to do to press it up?
Mm-hmm.
So Freeze basically was like, yo, we could put the album out. You know what I'm saying? We got to deal with priority.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So Freeze had to deal with priority. They seen these guys are spending their own money. They said, hey, you could use our deal to put your record out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was the first deal. That was going to basically, you know, they was like a small portion of the deal, like the middleman. They hooked it up. Cool. Boom. So after that, we was dealing with priority direct.
Okay.
Now, sorry. Keep on.
But the whole thing was that because we're really, I think, changed the course of Rocafella was that something was wrong with that deal. So Freeze ended up getting the lion's share.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why they didn't get what they should have got from Reasonable Doubt. So if they would have got what they should have got from Reasonable Doubt, they would have stayed independent because it would have been enough money.
Win. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? 500,000 records is $4 million. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you already moving into that territory of having income to sign people, do shit, you know what I'm saying, and move around. But the fact that that didn't happen, that kind of led them to doing the Def Jam deal.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? So now it's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's do, you know, but we went around definitely trying to do other similar situations because I was like with Dane every day. You know what I mean? So I would go to every meeting with him. So we going to Universal, we going to, you know, TVT, we going to, you know what I mean, all the indies, Koch, we going to everything, you know what I mean, trying to figure out the right deal, trying to get something, but being that we did Ain't No Nigga with Def Jam, that kind of started the relationship. And the next thing you know, Irv was kind of like just going there. We might have went there at the same time. So they was kind of like shifting because at the time Def Jam was in a transition sort of period. Like they their biggest artist at that when we got there was Warren G. That just to show you where they was at. You know what I'm saying? Yep. They were in that era. You know what I mean? Like Chris Lighty was saving them because he had Warren G and he had Foxy Brown.
Yes.
So Foxy kind of switched it over. Jay came at the same time. They had Case, you know, a couple other things.
That's right.
Def Jam is kind of revved up. So now it's like Def Jam got Gotti A&R. The next office from him was Bimmy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I'm going in there. It's a bunch of guys, you know what I'm saying, for the streets that know music. So I keep saying Irv because that's like my big homie in doing A&R to me.
Okay.
I mean, he might not even know, but you know, I just always will call him and be like, yo, how do I do this? What's, you know, come to the studio for me to listen to this. You know what I mean? Because I can't come to like Jay and them. They already trusted me to do it.
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, I didn't have too many other people, but one time he came and you know, he kind of came and was like, you don't need me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And gave me that confidence to like not call him no more and just move forward and do everything on my own.
Right.
He was like, yo, just make it how you like it. You got an ear, you know what you're doing. So, you know what I mean? And I remember I was doing Streets is Watching.
Remember that? Yes.
Streets is Watching was the first song I did as an A&R. The first beat I picked, the first song I had to mix, book sessions.
Wow.
You know, do the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like that was like the beginning of me transitioning to being an A&R. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it just kind of happened. Like I was going to do some other stuff. I was going to be a producer. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my thing. Because after I started being around and coming around sessions and stuff, Jay asked me like, what do I want to do? And I was like, yo, I want to be a producer. I was like, I want to make beats. I always wanted to do that. And he was like, all right, cool. Go to Ski House every day.
Yes.
And you know, tell him I told you to come and just learn. So I would be at Ski House every day or whenever I could, because I still got to go to the office. So you know what I mean. So I'm finding a little time to go to his crib to kick it. And one day, you know, we going through records, and I hit a record for Streets is Watching.
Now you know what's funny? Now I'm gonna tell you what's dope. I'm gonna tell you what's dope. He's talking about some history, right? Nas just put out a documentary called Queens Reign Supreme about Supreme. They mentioned the relationship between Irv Gotti and Queen. So they go, the relationship was when Irv Gotti was signed to Records, which turned out to be TNT Line, and this is when they had the Cash Money click. And this is when he was DJ, when it was Mike Geronimo, Ja Rule,
yes, sir.
Mafia and Queens. That's that era. That's he's speaking about that era.
Yeah.
that Supreme was that they was talking about the relationship between Preem and Irv Gotti, the Blunt Record days. Blunt
Yes.
was also a label that Doo-Wop was signed to, the Doo-Wop and the Bounce Squad.
Yes, yeah.
See, I know my little bit of hip hop, you know what I'm saying?
No, you definitely know your shit. But because Preem came to the office. I remember Preem coming to the office, you know what I'm saying, with a motherfucking brown leather suede jacket. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was clean. You know what I'm saying? I think he just came home one of the times, you know what I mean, when he came through.
Shout out to Preem. That's a whole different conversation that me and Zeke will have on another show, because that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah,
right there.
But besides, he brought up the relationship between him and Irv. That was around the time of Blunt Records.
I know,
and that's why I mentioned it, because that relationship was Cash Money. That's before J visuals. We seen Irv Gotti with the Cash Money click.
Right.
And then we seen what he did after. But this is the 90s. Now, just being in the clubs, the song that was banging was the song he had with Foxy. That one fired. That's what he was dancing to in the club. When they threw that on, when they played Get Money, a different time. It was a different time of hip hop in the club. In your mouth, all that craziness.
Akinelli, shout out to him. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to get back to
OG.
No, he stopped at. I had to write it down. I was not gonna let you.
Streets is watching.
You stopped at Streets is watching, and I said, because in my head I said, wait a minute, hip hop. Do you picked out that record? Talk about it, bro. Talk about that.
Oh yeah, no, that was the beginning of hip hop to me, because like I said, the record was there, and so what happened is that I called Jay on the phone and played the sample, and then I told Ski that I did it, because Ski wouldn't want to make the beat. He wasn't fucking with the record. So I played it for Jay, and I'm like, yo, listen to this. He was like, yo, what the fuck is that? He was like, yo, I'm coming over there now. He walked to Ski house. Ski lived over on Lafayette. You know what I'm saying? Like right there at them little houses, like as soon as you come out the train, them brick houses in Brooklyn right there. And Jay lived on State and Flatbush over there. So it's a little straight walk right up Fulton. You know what I mean? Like 3-4 blocks, probably like the length of Barclays. You know what I mean? So Jay walked right up there, walked right to the crib, heard the beat. So I told Ski, yo, Jay's coming over. He wanted to hear that beat. He was like, what beat? I was like, yo, this beat. But he was like, oh shit, I ain't even make it yet. So he had to rush and make the beat before Jay got there. He chopping it up, doing what he got to do. Then he, Jay comes, he played the beat, hip hop played on the phone. He played it, but he did too much to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I played the record. You know what I'm saying? Jay was like, nah, just make it like that. So if you listen to it, that's why it sounds just like the beginning of the record. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because that's what I played him. You know what I'm saying? So that day, he told me I'm gonna pick all his beats.
That's amazing right there, because I felt like always listening to Jay, I'm like, yo, where is Son? Like, who's picking Son's beats? But here was the thing. They weren't really traditional beats. They're not even beats I would have chosen. I'm gonna keep real with you, hip hop. I'm like, I would not choose these beats. But the thing is this, I say he wins every time. So I'm like, Jay knows how to pick these beats that work for him. And now we come to the realization, hip hop had a big fortune and influence on picking these beats that always work for him, and that is what makes an amazing A&R. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I kind of wanted that job, and not to say I wouldn't have chose those beats, but see, there needs to be a relationship between the A&R and the person. Yes, I strongly feel if someone just picks your A&R and that A&R has not been listening to your music, he doesn't know who you are, he hasn't spent time with you, it might be a rough album. It could be a rough album, because whatever that is on that A&R's mind is how it's gonna have a big influence there. But here we have we have you who spent time with Jay before really the biggest thing, so you kind of getting the idea of what this dude's vibe is like, and boom, Streets is watching.
Yeah, I know the beats he liked to freestyle over. When he went to the radio, he always picked Criminology. He always picked I Shot You. He always picked, you know what I mean? So it was like it was a certain level of street. And then, you know, back then, like the commercial part of it and being regional and being all of that didn't really come into play yet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, you know, if you taking a chance, like a record like Sunshine, you know what I mean? You know, okay, that's a commercial record. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This feature, you know, you got to do things like that. But I was always trying to get that record that Work in the Tunnel, and like all my friends were like.
Okay.
You know what's funny?
You know what I'm saying? Like I was just really caring about like my friends. Like, you know what I mean? It was people that I was really trying to make it for, because I like when he says who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas, and argue all day, like that was based on a conversation he had with me, talking and telling him the arguments I had.
And the barbershops and stuff like that.
Not in the barbershops, on the corner of 108th and 7th Avenue, right with my friend Quincy and my other friends, and we all would represent those artists and kind of like you quote them, you know what I'm saying, against his, go quote for quote and argue, boom, 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 back and forth and stuff. So I remember telling them like, yo, your name, you in that conversation, you know what I'm saying? To where, but it was early still, but he was still in that conversation because he had enough lines to go up with anybody, you know, even 2 albums in, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Still up there, because you know, but at that point, Big only had 2 albums. Nas only had maybe 2.5 or 3, maybe. So
changed
you know,
a little bit on us.
Didn't those albums come out at the same quarter? Didn't Reasonable Doubt and As It Was It Was Written come out the same quarter, or
real close?
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one, it was real close. The second one. But then Nas began to switch up on us after the second album. He became this Nas Escobar, more firmish, more.
Yeah, that's when Dr. Dre tried to infiltrate and he wanted to put his clutches on it.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm doing something that's crazy. This might be even bug hip hop out. I went to. They had the No Way Out. Jay-Z opened up the first show. It was only in New York, right? They had the bulletproof vest on. Jay-Z opened up. You know what I'm saying? He left the tour. He left the tour. Everybody was like, yo, Jay-Z jumped off the tour. The next time we heard from Jay was off to selling 5 million records. Not Life.
You want to know why he left the tour? You want to know why he left the tour?
Huh?
You want to know why he left the tour?
Why did he really leave the tour? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. To be honest, it was the treatment, first of all. It was like the regular stuff. Like, you know, he just was it was like they was doing a favor in a sense. So it was kind of like, you know, the treatment was like they might have to make him a room. You know what I'm saying? Like a locker room, whatever they call it. You know what I'm saying? Like they might have to, like, him and Usher be sharing it. You know what I mean? Type of stuff like that. But what really, really drove it was that Kid Capri played the beat to Hard Knock Life on that tour.
Yeah, wow.
So Kid Capri was the DJ for that tour.
Yes, I remember.
Queen. Yeah. So 45 King gave him an instrumental of that beat.
Shout out to 45.
So Jay heard the beat, right? And next thing you know, he called me because I'm not on tour. I'm in New York. So he called me like, yo, get in contact with 45 King and get that record from him. That's all he says. I'm like, what record? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? He was like, nah, he gonna know what I'm talking about. I was like, I bet. I called 45 King. So I do the whole session with 45 King, lay the beat, everything before Jay even get back to New York.
Wow, you was working.
So we go in, do the record, lay the joint. And he's out of there. He laid the beat like as fast as I ever seen anybody do anything. Like, cause he already released the song, so it was already basically on reel.
Yes.
So he basically bought the reel in and was like, "Here you go. Here's the beat." You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, cool. You didn't even need to do nothing. We got 4 more hours to order Chinese food. You know what I mean? But so basically, when Jay heard that record, and he had a little momentum going from like what was it? It's All Right. and Can I Get Her? Like those records were on soundtracks, moving around. Those was like Who You With. So he had them type of records that kept bubbling up, but he didn't get that one yet. But when you heard Hard Knock Life, it was like, okay, this is the one. And is that one to the point where I need to get off the road? I need to record this record. I need to finish this album, and I need to focus on taking my stuff to the next level. So, you know what I mean? So the tour kind of gave him that feeling like, okay, I'm being treated this way because I need to go back and get my shit up to another level. You know what I'm saying? So he heard that record, and the record was the catalyst to be like, yo, fuck it, I'm out of here. Let's go make this record. But, you know, it was just a lot of things that I'm sure was just like, okay, I don't deserve to be treated like this, but also I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? Because he already got money. He already, you know, right there with these guys. He already went big, you know what I mean? But to tour standards or to whatever's going on, it's like, okay, you're the opening act at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was kind of like that sort of situation. So after the New York show, I think he probably got out of there.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful that we have that competitive spirit, especially for Jay, because he's at this point he's the GOAT. This is undeniable. We're not even going to debate that type of talk, right? But when we're hearing about the start and you're telling us about what motivated him to say, you know what, I'm better than this, and I can show you better than I could tell you. I'm not going to sit here and argue all day about whether I'm worth a green room. You understand? Like for the fact that you don't have a green room for me, okay. You know what? I could show you better than I could tell you, and I think that is the spirit that has driven Jay-Z to the point where he is now. But it was a necessary. Yeah. It was a necessary rivalry, you know, energy that he needed to push him.
It's just showing it.
The time in the streets was changing. We're talking about a darker time. We're talking in the streets. The streets, we had something called the New York Bloods. This was the guys that was in the club scenes. These are the guys that was pushing this new culture. Not bringing the diamonds up, but it was this new culture. It was going commercial, as crazy as it sounds, in clubs like the Tunnel, Club Speed, and so on, right? So now, when there's records being made, a lot of these street gang members, they're celebrating these songs. So now, you get a what in the club, you got 1,000 homies in the club losing their mind. People are attracted to this culture now. People go to these clubs just to see these New York gang members party without the violence. We're not talking about the violence. So now when these records are being made, the street is not the same. We're not talking about the Rich Porter days. We're talking about the bandana days. These rappers are going on stage with gang members. And it changed with like the DMX era. That ever we talking about the Def Jam, we're talking about DMX. We're talking about Ja Rule. We're talking about Holla Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying? What was it like then, pushing that third album when the culture changed, when the streets changed, when you went through a block, you seen 30 bandanas, and they loved Jay-Z. Jay-Z was like the god of his raps back then.
Yeah. Now it definitely was a shift in the culture. I feel like it was to me, I kind of give the DMX, Rough Riders credit because of what Puffy was doing at the time. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at it, it's a perfect, transition as far as the Locks being over here, then the Locks over here.
Yes.
Songs like Get At Me Dog being a video in the tunnel.
Slipping.
You know what I'm saying? And then it kind of like, really represent that grittiness of the streets. Like they was really taking it there to where I don't feel like anybody was really giving you that, those images. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was trying to like up it, make it even glossier, make it like, okay, this fabulous sort of ghetto stuff to where they was like, nah, we're going to take it this way. And, give it to you, raw, kind of like what, like early Tretch was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like when he came out, to me, he's like that blueprint. But he's like the blueprint for that look, like coming out with cornrows and no shirt on.
Too crazy, crazy guy.
Exactly, just straight hood, Dickies, you know what I mean? That whole thing, you know what I mean? So to me, X took it to the next level, as well as Rough Riders, because of street credibility, you know, shit was happening. You know what I'm saying? You was always hearing about them in the streets, the scuffling and stuff like that. So at that time, it would be just the cliques, how they moved, the people they had around them. They all kept a couple of them dudes around them. That's gonna, you know what I'm saying? That's still there.
That's still there in the streets.
That's gonna do what they gotta do. But what changed was, I feel that those guys were still trying to get out, and it was more of a protection thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, we going here. All right, cool. Call so and so, so and so, so and so. You know what I'm saying? And then, but later it became the you know, the side. The next person is that, you know, is the street dude. Is gang. You know what I mean? So
when I went out on tour with Rough Riders, I don't know why they gave me everyone's per diem, right? But I'm on a tour bus, and the entire tour bus was people that just came home. Like the tour bus I was on. But only mine, though. Only mine. So I'm like, yo, bro, why did you give me this job? Like, you know, everybody on here is fresh home from jail as I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah, nah. D.
Am I babysitting right now? What is going on?
Nah, D was in the hood. Like, D was in Harlem all the time. Like, that was like a big bro to me. Like, I would go up there with him to the Yonkers. He'd just call a cab to come pick me up.
Yes.
And be like, and take me to Yonkers and then take me back. You know what I'm saying? Just to hear some records and stuff like that. Like, I heard, you know, Get At Me Dog way, you know what I'm saying, before the Locks was on it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it was like, I would always hear those beats. I remember hearing the first Jadakiss solo record before they changed the beat. When the Swiss, when I'm like, yo, who did this beat? He was like, my nephew. That's it. No name, no nothing. Yo, where he at? He like, he in Atlanta. He coming up soon. He gonna come up soon. He in Atlanta. He like your age.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He's telling me that. You know what I'm saying? So I knew D that long. You know what I mean? When Swiss was just like his nephew.
You know what I'm saying? His nephew. So boom. Now,
so I remember when he came up.
It was dope. How? Because I don't you. Because I didn't have this conversation. I'm gonna throw this out there. You're gonna have another great vibe. This is hip hop. How was you able to find a lane for Kanye West's first album? All this DMX, Get At Me Dog, homies tossing it up. Rest in peace, Chi, Fox running around with red bandanas on. We got the Bloods and Brooklyn cutting everything on the chain. How was you able to go, yo, we're gonna do this way? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna convince these niggas in the street, give them some consciousness. Because remember, you wore polo in New York, is, you know, when we say polo New York, we're talking about low life. You know, we know that comes from that culture.
Definitely, Brooklyn,
even though we ain't own it, but that was the culture. How you did it, bro?
It wasn't our thing uptown. That wasn't our thing uptown. We didn't really.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't our thing uptown. It was a Brooklyn thing. That was definitely a K thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thing that the city knew. How you created a lane for Kanye West? Y'all can have this great conversation. You know what I'm saying? You hear me?
Yeah, that's a good question. But to go back, I met Kanye in '96.
See, had this conversation, yes.
So I met him as soon as I started. And just as soon as I got the A&R job, they sent me to Chicago to be on a panel. And Reasonable Doubt just came out. I didn't do too much A&R on it. I did the admin A&R part of it. You know, I did the sequencing, the mastering, the mixing, collecting the tapes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like getting the credits. And that's how it really became the A&R, because I knew the credits just off of the records I had. So I knew where to find it at. So I knew, okay, Clark Kent, okay, this is Clark Kent did this. So let me go find out what's his company name, what's his publisher name. Boom. You know what I mean? I went to all the producer houses and got the records for the samples. You know what I mean? So I had to get like hand on like that. So they sending me out there to do that. I meet No ID, and we on a panel together, and I'm a fan of his because I like Common Sense. You know what I mean? He had that song I Used to Love Her at the time. So I'm a Common Sense fan because Stretch Armstrong. You feel me? So it's like, okay, I'm into this. I asked him for some beats, and he tells me that I don't really got your type of beats, you know, because of Jay. So he's thinking, okay, ain't no nigga, boom, you know, I don't really got those type of beats, but I got this kid I'm working with that got, you know what I mean, that's probably would be dope for Jay. I'm gonna have him come tomorrow. The next day the kid came, it was Kanye. You know what I'm saying? So we met that day. You know, he told me about his, you know, stuff. He raps, he got beats, he this, he that. You know, it wasn't nothing too crazy. I was just trying to get some Harris chicken, to be honest. And then next thing you know, we move on. We calling back and forth. He send me some beats every now and then. He send me a new mixtape and stuff like that. And it was kind of like it was good music because I knew he made good beats. So he always made a good song. You know what I'm saying? As far as the concepts, the hooks, everything was always good. But like you said, it was a place at a time when, you know, I was really thinking, let's go sign the Ruckus Records.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, and we could really dominate this market in that side because I felt like if we come from there with a little more better songs, maybe a little more structure, we could kind of come from that way and attack. You know what I mean? Like that was my initial plan because I didn't think that Rocafella would sign this. You know what I'm saying? At that early stage. So I remember having a conversation with Dame about, you know, everybody want to be like Jay and this whole thing. And I'm being like, not really. And he was like, okay, you want to be like Tyler and Kweli. Right? So he told me that, right? So I was like, nah, not even. That's not even the case either. So at that time, I kind of felt like I don't really have a true representation in hip hop. For me, like, okay, I'm from this hood, but I'm not hood. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm blood block, but I ain't a blood. You know what I'm saying? So I know what it is, but I still, you know, I'm cool with not doing that. I'm cool with just reading or listening to books or watching movies, whatever. I'm cool with that type of stuff. So I was connecting with that type of music as well, equally. I was like a UGK and De La Soul at the same time. It was no difference. It was like just hip hop to me. So I never really had that line of this underground hip hop commercial, but you know what I'm saying? It was all just hip hop to me because I was in it that long. It was all, you know what I'm saying? It all came, I seen it all come into fruition. So when he started to get more serious on the music, it was songs like Hey Mama and Jesus Walks was records that he did on his demo. So when I heard those records, it was like, okay, this is a little different. This could pierce it another way. And at that time, I started thinking like more like Pac. You know what I'm saying? I started thinking like, okay, maybe it's a Pac angle where he's not as lyrical, but it's real profound. It's real, you know what I mean? It's real good songs. It's real direct. And at the time, I remember Pac stuff really working even better in the afterlife. Songs like just kept living and living, like you know, their mamas and changes, and records just kept having that purpose. And he had their mom, he had, you know, Hey Mama, and he had Jesus Walks. And I was like, damn, these are the type of records that really will live forever. You know what I'm saying? As far as because they, you know, everybody will have a moms and Jesus will be here longer than we will. So as far as that, those two records had me thinking. So I remember me and him went to the movies to go see Tupac Resurrection documentary. So so I remember we left the movie theater and he looked at me and he said, I figured it out. I'm just gonna be myself. And that was it. And that's what you see today. Like he, you know what I mean? He just figured like, and then he said, I'm a college dropout. You know what I'm saying? That still want to go to Jacob, that still want to fuck bitches, that still want to do this. I love hip hop, but he wasn't a backpacker. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't the case. That was kind of coming from the people that was, was attracted to him because he wasn't a gangster.
Right. It was only a couple of categories. So if
So
you
they
wasn't
couple
this,
categories.
we're gonna put you here.
You're not a
Yeah.
gangster, we fucking with you. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? So he was in that place, but he's making music for the gangsters, a whole state property, the whole Rocafella. You know what I mean? So he's with these guys, Dipset. So you got Dipset, state property, and Beans and Jay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jay and Bleak. So you got these 10 guys over here, but then on the other side, you got Most, Talib, Consequence. You know what I'm saying? What's my man name? Rhyme Fest. You got all these guys that's hip hop guys, that's it, unequivocally. You know what I mean? So being in the middle of those things, it kind of organically happened, but I knew we had the Rocafella stuff. I knew I was there. I knew I could A&R. I knew I could figure it out. So I knew we didn't need much. But once we got that step of Dane wanting to do it, and that was kind of like after we exhausted everything kind of situation. You know what I mean? So when they did it, it was honestly more on the strength of me than it was on the strength of him.
That's what I was about to ask you that.
You know what I
I was
mean?
about to ask you what was the hesitancy level with Dame Dash? Because like I said before, being over there was a family oriented environment, but at the same time, as soon as I came in the door, I started questioning Dame Dash. How do you do this? How do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew he was very business minded too, and how he looks at things.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know the hesitancy ratio because he doesn't want to lose money.
Yeah, it wasn't bad because Dame will sign a lot of stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like he had signed a lot of people, you know what I mean? And it was always a joke that all you got to do is get into the office, but it's hard to get into the office. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you know what I mean, more about people who is close to him or probably know him or stuff like that. He would give those people opportunities like me. He gave us jobs and we learned and we figured it out. So he, will give chances. You know what I mean? So that was always the thing with him. He was always fair. He always gave chances. So with the deal, it was kind of like, oh, that's your artist? Oh, we already know he's our producer because he's, we already 2-3 years into him producing everything. And then me and G, we got our production company, Just Blaze, Kanye West.
I was going to ask you about that, but let's keep going.
Yeah. So it's that, it's hip hop since 1978. We started that. And then now we're making the music for Rocafella, so to say. We had Baseline Studios. So all these things started to work out to where it's structured now. I'm not just calling every producer in the world. It's kind of like, okay, we got our producers and then we got a studio, and then the other producers kind of fall through.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a system working like that. So by the time it got to the point of Ye making a record, we didn't need money to start the record. So we didn't need that type of approval. You know what I'm saying? He started hearing the records and he was like, okay, I'm fucking with this. So it was more of that type of thing. And then it started where, worst case scenario, we got enough artists to be on this album to support it. And the beats is going to be dope.
Yeah.
So the worst case scenario, that's what they was thinking, or Dame was thinking. Mm-hmm. And that's what most people, kind of looked at it as. So they probably thought, okay, that's what happens, kind of like Marley Marl or his album or DJ Mugg, Soul Assassins, you know what I mean? Something in that vein. Like a lot of labels will eventually get to that point where the producer make an album, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, or the main DJ, or it's a compilation album involved. So it kind of started in that mindset for them.
Yes.
But as they started to hear the records, maybe the first time they heard any records, it was like, okay, this guy is serious. Yeah. So it started to evolve more into that. And then by the time, the accident happened and Through the Wire happened, and, he became more popular because Alicia Keys' records took him into another world.
That's right.
So all these things just started to happen as he was making records, as he was being on a record with Jay here, on a remix here with Slum Village, just doing different things.
Yes.
And it just kind of all was, boiled into an avalanche, basically, as far as his opportunities mixed in with his creative output, which still is going. You know what I mean? He had so much ideas and so much things he wanted to do. You know that's why he had to move up to be like, yo, I gotta get to New York because I'm missing too much stuff. You know,
and that in itself also was it was part of the culture. Moving to New York from wherever you from, you understand. You had to go, and we can say that there's proof because Jodeci is not from New York at all. They're from down south, the Carolinas, but they knew, huh?
So they moved them niggas to Bronxdale.
Right, they had to come
imagine
up.
that. You can imagine moving niggas from North Carolina to Bronxdale projects.
Bronxdale projects, bro. But you had to be here. You understand what I'm saying? You had to be here and put it all on what me and my man called the one. And that's a whole different story, but we call it putting it on one. We went to Atlantic City, and they got that big Wheel of Fortune, right? And one night we put it all on the one, and we actually won, and we bugged out. So from there on, we say sometimes you got to put it on the one, all on the one, and moving, you know, from these different places. That was part of the some of the things, the algorithm of what you had to do to make it in this industry. So when I seen Kanye West do it, and I wanted to ask you about hip hop since 1978, just forming the company, what caused you to cause it, and at the same time you can tell us how Just Blaze kind of fit in that paradigm.
Got you. What happened is I found Kanye and G found Just, or you know, he came in contact with Just through another A&R that basically was like, hey, this guy got y'all type of beats, kind of like the same way Just was. It was like, oh yeah, go to these guys. They,
okay,
you know. So at that point, me and G, we dabbled in production management. We had a kid named Mahogany. He did It's All Right and Celebration for us. And then he kind of went to the Track Masters and left us and stuff. And then you know, we got him a publishing deal. He moved on. And then we was kind of just sitting there with nothing. And then Kanye reached to me and told me I should be his manager.
Oh, okay.
He was with Derek Angeletti first.
Shout out to D-Dot, man.
He was with D-Dot first. and I think he had just left D-Dot, and he was like, yo, why don't you be my manager, because you can help me as an artist and as a producer. So that was his, you know, that's what he was thinking. So he kind of like picked me to do it. And then from that point on, G came with like, yo, I got this guy. He got beats like, I forgot who he said, maybe like Swiss or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he only charged this much. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, all right, cool, bring him through. You know what I mean? He did the Who the Fuck Want What beat for Beans and Bleak first. And so it was kind of a coincidence that him and Ye did one song on Beans' album. And then, but they also was on the Mace Harlem World album.
Harlem World. Okay.
Justin Kanye is on that album heavily. They both had like 2 songs on there.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So they was kind of like with Kuda a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so by the time they got over to us, I knew that they could do anything. Like they both was people that could make any kind of music they choose, because they was making a little bit of different music before they got to us. And I just knew what their talent was. So it was kind of like, okay, I need these type of producers because I got so many different kind of rappers. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't just go into like a Swiss where I got one sound, or Timberlake, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, I want to make these albums. We need different type of beats, you know? So it was kind of like more looking at it from the traditional type of production where every song would be a different type of loop, different, you know, just sound different within itself. Not something that's like, okay, everything sound like this producer.
Right.
You know, so that was one thing I was trying to accomplish. That's why they kind of call it like a Rocafella sound, I guess. But it's not a Kanye sound. It's not a Just sound. It's like a, you know, it's just a mixture. Definitely influenced by the RZA and Wu-Tang and just soulful stuff. You know, that's what I was trying to accomplish. In that, during that with my production, I was trying to like give us a sound that still got feeling, because I feel like we was losing feeling at the time with the keyboards and like a lot of those club beats and stuff. I felt like I wasn't feeling it like I was feeling Supreme Clientele. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like certain beats, certain like just that type of feel. So I think like if you look, like that was the direct influence on Blueprint.
See, that's deep.
Yeah, that's what it was kind of like. I started getting into that MF Doom, real stuff, like real underground hip hop.
R.I.P.
So it was kind of like the same thing with Ye and Pac, and coming from here to go there, but bringing this underground sound to this mainstream artist.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you
that's always what I did from Streets is Watching from day one. You know what I'm saying? So the other songs is Jay getting with people. You know, like if Jay goes to Timberland or Jay go to Neptunes or Puffy or whoever, it's like I can't really pick that beat. You know what I'm saying? That's just, you know what I mean? That's a day. You know what I mean? That's going to be 3 days booked out, and we're going to do what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So a lot of those songs, I can't really. I'm more the album cut.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or the earlier singles like "Do It Again." Like that. Like I wrote that hook, and I did, stuff like that. So
is Guru in the building at this time? Where's Guru? Is he an intern? Does he even exist?
Guru came from the same place Kanye came from. He came from Derek Angeletti.
Okay.
Yeah, so he came just through Lenny S. Lenny S had booked him for Bleak, and then I needed an engineer one day. He was like, I got this kid, he's real cool. He's young, you know how to use Pro Tools, and he came through, and we've been together ever since. So it was like, I never had an engineer like him that was like close to age. He's probably like your age, Zeke, and so he's like, we come from the same place as far as just growing up. Both smoked weed, both like the same stuff. Was hip hop heads, reggae heads. We all love the same stuff, so we got along. And that was my main thing. Like, okay, if you could get along with the people you with every day, everything else is easy. You know what I'm saying? Just make music, picking beats, and doing what you love to do. But to hate people that you're around, or to not being able to, go to work with attitude and shit like that. So it was fun because I was really just with Just Blaze and Guru, and mainly us three was like together 80% of the time for that run.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like we all stayed in baseline. People would come and go. Kanye would come through, but like what all records Kanye did on Blueprint, Jay did in like 2 days.
Wow.
So Kanye gave me a tape on Friday, and those songs, every song that he did on Blueprint, like 4 of them, was done by Sunday. So that's how the Blueprint started, with that tape. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't even have to touch the studio. You feel me?
Right.
So, but Just is there every day. So by the time we do those records, it's like, okay, this will be going. Okay, bet. Girls. Song cry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know. You know what I'm saying? So now them joints is coming now. So now by the time we get to like Tuesday, we got all the Just records and all the Kanye records. We 8 songs done in like 3 days on the Blueprint. So everything else was just us going to other people, playing them 8 songs and saying what you got, and that's how it finished. But Big Dog records too. His records came real early. So once I played him, once he got the whiff of what we was doing as well, he was already there. I didn't have to prep him. I knew he had them type of beats. He played me the Mama Love You beat, the Rules Bad beat. You know what I mean? So then he kind of came in. And by the time we was like 4 or 5 days in, Blueprint it was just about done. Like we had all the records for just about done in like 5 days. It made itself. Like I never really, that's the only time that really happened in that way. But that that shows you how Kanye stuff was. It was like it was just potent, and he didn't even have to be there like that. You know what I'm saying? To where like, you know, everybody else was more like, okay, on call. Like he was never on call. Like he was just like, here you go.
I want to know your feelings. We talked about this last week when Canada Dry started to sell their portfolio, and there was a big transition in hip hop because around that same time, Steve Jobs, you had Napster. You understand? You had Steve Jobs coming up with these amazing ideas for some new digital concept he had going on. You were there, man. What did that feel? What was the vibe like in the building for the executives, for the people that really base their job off of album sales? Were you guys scared? Like, how were you looking at this new transition? And was it a reality where people just like, oh, that's a fad? And then when it got real and it wasn't a fad anymore, how were you guys feel? Like, what the hell are we gonna do? Talk to us, man.
Right. I didn't feel it as much, to be honest, because I think that things started to like overlap. So it was like Kanye's success overlapped with Jay's success, vice versa.
Okay.
So it was like if you knew and you kind of just coming in and you adapting to whatever's going on, you're good. You know what I'm saying? But if you a little dated and you not trying to adapt what's going on, then you kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we always had younger artists, and we always was, you know, was way more forward thinking in a lot of areas. So it wasn't a big thing as far as record sales and stuff. A lot of those things I feel you take care of in the studio.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like a good record right now from 20 years ago is still a good record, no matter what that campaign was, no matter what the format was, no matter if they, you know, if it was downloaded or streamed or bought on a track. You know what I'm saying? It's just a good record. So I try to like keep my blinders on in that way. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, okay, if we could do our job and really pay attention to what's going on, like how are we going to move it forward? What's the new thing we're going to do based on the next album, from the last album, because that's how people is really paying attention. And y'all fans, so you know what it's like. I'm into somebody based on this album they just did. Like I'm going to buy a Pete Rock Seal Smooth Main Ingredients because I bought Austin's first album, and I don't care when it come out and how it come out. When it do come out, I will get it because I love their first album. So I was kind of like using that sort of credibility. Like I was always making an album to make another album.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like really a thing of like I wasn't trying to make hits and pop. I wasn't worried about that. I was worried more about like 5 mics or credibility and people gonna like it or not, because I knew most of the artists, you know, a lot of that's out of their control. What's going on radio? What's hitting?
Now, when he says 5 mics, y'all, you have to understand he's talking about the 5 mics in the back of the Source magazine, right? The Source magazine. They would you had certain journalists who would write, and then they would give this a special measurement on based off of the album, the new artist, and they would say, you know, I give this album 5 mics, 4 mics, whatever it was. You don't want 1.5 mics. I can tell you that because people are going off of this vibe. Yeah, exactly. So, but if you got 5 mics, everybody's going to check for this project.
Now I'm gonna tell you what's crazy, right? He said something about those records, right? And here go the mix. Kanye West going to, you know, Rocafella. I remember when Walker's records signed G Rap, and they didn't know what to do with him. They gave him some money, but they didn't know what to do with him. Coogee Rap, if you sit back and listen to him, he's really a street rapper. He's rapping about the streets.
Yep.
So it's a dance song. We dance it. It's a demo. You know what I'm saying?
Want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
When I was trying to get Kanye to sign the Ruckus, they decided that they're gonna go with G Rap.
Bingo.
Wow.
Because I think they was tired of staying in that lane. So they kind of looked at him as another one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
Another Talib. So they're like, G-Rap's gonna take us over here, give us a different type of credibility, but it actually kind of started their downfall. Which really should have happened was that G-Rap should have signed to Rocafella and Kanye should have signed to Brooklyn.
Exactly.
And everybody would have still been, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Exactly.
Like that's where it fit at. Like at that time, G-Rap would have been perfect on there over them type of beats, over Yang and Just.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Beanie Siegel on the record.
Ooh, that's hard. Yeah,
Come on, imagine that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and we was into that because eventually we started doing that with ODB or MOP and stuff like those type of groups. We wanted Nori. We wanted all those. We wanted all of that. You know what I mean? Especially Dame. You know what I'm saying? Dame was like, yo, if he fucked with you and liked your music and liked you as a person, he wanted to get behind you. You know, and a lot of times that meant signing the Rocafella. So that's how the Cam thing came about. You know what I'm saying? It was like we eventually all came full circle because we started managing Cam during SDE. So when he did SDE with Sony,
Epic Records,
and Cam came back together. I mean, because Dame and Cam wasn't talking for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's like a whole nother story. But as far as Jim, it was me and Jim that basically tricked him into fucking with each other. You know, me and Trim took the guard, like, yo, I know he want to fuck with him, but if you get him to fuck with him, and you get him to fuck with him, you know, we put the Don King on him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, you tell him Cam want to meet, I tell Cam Dame want to meet. All right, cool, bet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In the office, and everything was cool. They just started laughing, and everything was, you know, was good. And he was like, yo, I need some help. And we, Rocafella Records, started managing Cam. So our whole staff was doing what we did for anybody else on Rocafella for Cam when he was on Sony, basically. So after that, but the album was kind of done, so we didn't do the A&R part of it. We helped out on the end part, but then it was like, okay, let's get out of Sony and come to Rocafella type of thing. I mean, after he kind of got cool with everybody and the label and the whole thing, and then next thing you know, they started doing the whole Dipset.
Now hip hop wasn't that that's the label that Cam signed to? Was that with under Biggie Smalls? Was that the label? Or that was more under Entertainment?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. It was because I don't know if I ever say this story, but Cam, like you said, Cam was my friend. So I remember calling on the phone with Cam on the other line to introduce them.
Wow.
Because C's was doing an album and Cam hit me and was like, yo, I need to make some bread. And I remember being like, yo, why don't you write for C's?
That was a dope album. By the way.
Cam wrote Crush on You.
Okay. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So Cam wrote Crush on You, but didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? They thought Mace wrote it because Mace got the money and Mace gave Cam the money to write a song or two for him off of the thing. So Cam wrote the Crush on You, which ended up being a single. So now he's, he trying to find a way to get money. He lost his deal. He had a deal with Freeze. He ended up getting the same deal, Children of the Corn. They ended up signing with Freeze, but Bloodshed passed away. Cam is like on his own. Mace is kind of, on his about to get signed. So that's about to happen. So Cam like, yo, I need something. So I'm like, yo, why don't we try to get you an Un so C's, you can write for C's. So I called Un with Cam on the line, and I remember because Un was like, no, I already paid for that record. I paid for that record. He told me he was trying to get money from it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah. I'm just saying that my man wrote it and he could write some more. He was like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's hook up. So what happened is that we were supposed to all meet. Me, Cam, set a day and everything. But Cam seen at the video for We Always Love Big Papa.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But before that, Biggie liked Cam. Biggie wanted Cam to be in Junior Mafia. Cam asked me that. He said, you think I should be in Junior Mafia?
Never knew that. See?
And I remember being like, shit, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like, it wasn't too many other options, but that definitely was something that I remember him basically asking me, what I think about it and stuff. So that was on the table. So when it came time to reintroduce him to Un was like, yeah, I do remember Biggie talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of remembered him from that. Then it's like, okay, cool, Cam. His name was buzzing a little bit, but not really. It was like you had to like a Clue freestyle here, something like that, Big L tape. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like you just knew who Cam was at that time. Because this is like Locks is just, coming out. So he's didn't have his first album for sure. So obviously because he ended up signing to Un. So he done at that video, and not only does Un is leaving the Biggie thing at this point because C's and them is kind of moved on, everything they done kind of broke up, and he started entertainment. So the entertainment thing starts in Cam and Charlie Baltimore as his first artist.
Boom.
And those two artists that Biggie wanted to work with.
Wow.
That's a fact. That's
you know
amazing.
what I'm saying? So it kind of just goes through that. And then, you know what I mean? So by the time Cam come back around, we already, just cool. But we just see each other when we see each other, and it's like it's whatever. We never like hung out all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? Or anything like that. But it was just like we grew up together, and we just always had our own little inside joke, and you know what I mean, and always just look out for each other anytime we could, type of thing.
Right. All right. So I'm going to take a risk here because we're going to get into some more. I guess touchy. It could be touchy, but we don't know unless we ask you. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, the fans, we watched the whole breakup take place right there in front of us, and none of us really wanted that to happen. But it felt like we got to choose sides. You understand? It felt like, do we go with Dame Dash? You know what I'm saying? Do we support Dame Dash or do we support Jay-Z? So if it felt like that for the fans, I'm wondering how you guys felt, or you particularly, because no one else is there. You particularly, how did you feel during this time? And was that pressure ever on you where you felt like, yo, I got to either go with Dame or I got to go with Jay? Or I mean, not that you want to be in that position, but it's reality. You understand?
Nah, it was real. It definitely happened. So with me, what happened was, Biggs is my brother. So I'm never going against my brother, first of all.
Yes.
And Dame is my mentor. He taught me mostly everything I knew. He gave me my name. And Jay is the guy that basically gave me the job and put me in a position to be an A&R. And everything that I got as a name, he said my name, hip hop would, you know what I mean? You have a bike on, sit on your bike, you know what I mean? So
at this point, it sucks to be you. Sucks to be you.
Not really, because I was already on my way out overall.
Okay.
I signed Kanye. Me and G was starting our own thing.
Okay.
You feel me? So it was a slight moment where they was like, hey, you should stay here because Jay needs you to work over here and this and that. So it was like, I never really was, entertain anything in that way because, it was like some Def Jam people that asked me about it. You know what I'm saying? They was like, hey, when Jay do his thing, we need you should, are you going to be able to work with Jay? You should stay here. But they was asking me this when I was leaving to go to Atlantic Records.
Okay, that's right. I remember you went over it. Yeah, I remember when you went over it.
So I have to go to Atlantic Records.
You get there too.
Yeah, because I kind of seen it coming, and I didn't want to pick between the two. So I said, let me get out of here and go somewhere else and do my own thing.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So
and I remember you went over there, and my first thought was, I never had a relationship with hip hop. Like, it's gonna be hard for me to get in the door. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know people at other places now, and they say, yo, hip hop went over to Atlantic, and I'm like, damn it. And like, I don't know what to say. Like, I went down to Def Jam, and I remember my family from South Carolina came up. And I'm showing them the first time on the train, and then the thought came to me, take them to the Def Jam building, right? So I said, okay. Then when I got down there, same thought said, ask if Dame Dash is here. Okay. Is Dame Dash here? I'm here to see him. What's your name? Jamel. I'm waiting for them to say, he's nope, come right up. In my head, I'm acting cocky, but I'm like, oh shit. Okay, cool. I get upstairs. Dame Dash, I meet him at the door. I said, yo, this is my family from down south. They never seen nothing like this before. And They just want to walk around. Let me tell you something. Dame Dash, I can never crap on his name or nothing. He took my family as if he was a tour guide for the record labels and walked them all through the building and said, yeah, this is where we do this. This is where we do that.
Yes.
And then when I left, he gave me the wink. And I was like, damn, bro, you made me feel like a giant in this motherfucker. They still talk about that to this day. I went to New York and Jamel brought me all around. I said, damn, thank you, Dame. That shit felt good, bro. You know, but I couldn't do that with Atlantic. I said, ain't no way I'm getting in that building. Funny?
When he said Atlantic Records, right? I remember I came to New York with my friend DJ Chris Cool. He was a commercial radio station. We went to Def Jam, and he met up with Sam Crespo and Rob Love. We got some records.
Yes.
Then we went to Atlantic Records. We went to Atlantic, and I remember because he was pumping a single for a public service announcement. Dropped it the night before. They dropping bombs all over New York. People were crashing cars. Dudes were getting chain snatched again. It wasn't safe in Brooklyn. Right now, Brownsville cats is leaving Brownsville, hanging out in the Fort Greene section. It was dirty in New York. It was getting. we get there. We at Atlantic Records. They're doing the Fabulous mixtape. That's what they were pushing, the Fabulous mixtape out. And the guy that was running the lecture, they was shutting down the lecture records. I forgot my name, but he got DigiWax. And we went to the record. And we're looking at, he's telling my friend Chris, push this single when you get back to Albany, and it's public service announcement. You know what I'm saying? But at this time, I think his name is CL. CL had Mims. He was pumping Mims. Mims.
Yeah, CO, that's my man. DigiWax. DigiWax.
Before they shut it down. But he was Mims before Mims blew.
Yeah, 100%.
Mims opening up for Fabulous in certain cities in the Midwest. I remember because I was up there with my man Chris Cool. Chris Cool, he's on 96.3. And he was like an underground show. We messed it up. That's one of the funders of DigiWax. So it's funny when you said you went to Atlantic, because we went to Atlantic, they had nothing. You know what I'm saying? They had nothing. They were trying to pump a Brandy single.
A Brandy, exactly. Brandy, yep.
Yeah. Because when I went there, the first thing I worked on was the Twister, the Slow Jam's Overnight Celebrity Show.
Okay, that was dope. Congratulations.
Kim,
right?
Magic Stick, that album.
Oh, nice.
Jump Off Magic Stick album, and Fat Joe just was leaving. Who else was over there? I wasn't there that long. I didn't like it. I didn't like that whole environment. Just imagine.
Did they bring you in to change around the sound or do something different, or what was you even going over there about?
Yeah, it was. You know what I did do over there? I did we did TI.
Okay.
We came there at the same time. So it kind of like so that was like our main thing was like, okay, let's help this tip album. His first couple albums, and me and my partner G went there, and we signed Saigon at the time.
Shout out to Saigon. Yeah.
We signed Saigon over there, and that was through Just Deal, because when Kanye did his thing, then Just wanted to, he found an artist, and that was Sai, who I was into as well, and that's how me and Sycamore and everybody we kind of became cool.
DJ Sycamore, I remember him. He was cool with Action Pack, Get Money.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yes.
That's like my first. He's like A&R that's been around me the longest. He's done the Travis Scott and all that stuff like that. So he went into doing that, but he the one that bought us Saigon. He the one that was like, they bought it to Just, and then through there we just kind of built that relationship up.
And,
but
I will ask you a question. It's funny you said that because it was told to me that Sycamore could DJ. But he was making mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't the best DJ in the world, but he knew how to put a mixtape together. And
he started doing the instrumentals. That's how he got his.
Shout out man.
He started doing the instrumentals, and then he just found his lane. They started doing so it wasn't really like definitely wasn't more the DJ. It was more the business, the marketing of it. Yeah, for sure.
Now this is the dynamite question. What I want to know, God damn it, I want to know. So the team want to know, because at this point in time, New York City, we were sort of lost in the world of Little Wayne. Every time you turned around, we heard a Little Wayne. He was rapping on Stevie Wonder tracks. We seen him freestyle 1,000 mixtapes. He's on Ray Charles. He's rapping Ray Charles beats. And then I sit back and go, he made this album called The Carter 5, like some shit like that. The Carter 5.
The Carter,
What
the Carter.
was the influence you had over that shit? You know what I'm saying? You guys put together, if you was a part of that, which I think your guys was a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
The Carter.
Yeah, I got with Wayne after the Carter, the first one.
The first
And,
Hey DJ one, right? Hey DJ, that's my DJ, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
That's the first
that
one
came out. That's when I started liking him a lot more as a fan.
Yes.
And then and just so randomly, it's crazy. You remember Larry Johnson, the football player?
Yeah.
From the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. He was managing Lil Wayne.
Oh, wow.
In his rookie year in the NFL.
Wow.
Right? And he called me and told me, I don't know what I'm doing. Could you help me out?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm working with Lil Wayne. So I'm like, Lil Wayne, okay, Cash Money, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like trying to put it together, like what could I do? You know what I'm saying? For him and something. So I didn't do much. I was like, might have gave him some advice. And the next thing you know, he stopped and he got serious. Next thing you know, he started doing his thing in NFL. He took off. Like the years when he did his thing was when he stopped trying to be a manager. You know what I'm saying? Another thing. He just focused. He just started focusing. He got Rocafella. He started throwing up the thing after he down. He's the first one doing that. He's the first one throwing up the rock. You know what I mean? So he so he was managing him first, but he had another lady that was working with him. So she took over, and then she kind of reached out to me on her own, and asked to do it. And then Wayne reached out to somebody else I knew, kind of like how Ye did, and was like, "Yo, you should manage me." And I want to be he was like, "I want to be the best, and you work with the best." So you know what I mean? So he was real focused. It wasn't like no opportunities or anything like that. It was like, yo, what should I do? How could I do this? And then I remember, it was like an agenda. It was like, okay, get on other people's beats and get on songs with other people. So it was it was kind of like, this is how we're gonna show them. This is how you got to show them. You know what I mean? You got to get next to them and let them hear you, because now we only hear you in the southern context,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So even if you're saying some stuff, we might not even go that deep into the album. So when most people don't know a Lil Wayne album cut from 400, you know what I'm saying? Degrees,
that's right. Come on. Yeah, that's my era. Yeah,
the singles and stuff, but a lot of the hot boy stuff, you know what I mean? Unless you was from there, you was from the South, and you
right. I happened to live in Atlanta at the time, so I was 400 degrees out right now. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But in New York, it wasn't the same. You know what I mean? In New York, it was like a couple of young girls like them. Yeah, he had a fan base that was bubbling up, so I seen that.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I remember people that liked him a lot, and I was always like that. He got this magnetism that, you know what I mean, that people really mess up with him. Like either they really do or they really just don't know. They're not aware of him like that.
Exactly.
So anybody that was like, so I started seeing that, and then it was just a matter of like that. All we got to do is get Lil Wayne in front of more people, in front of more ears. So that's kind of like between the mixtapes, between the features, couple main features, the Duffel Bag Boy, the Lloyd joint,
Yeah, that was a hot joint.
Yeah. And I remember when Nelly did a song for Wayne, and he didn't charge him a lot of money, or maybe no money at all. And like at that point, he's like a humble person. Like Wayne is like one of the most genuine people I ever met, and he was like, yo, I do a song with anybody for anything. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like a game, or he's not good enough, or they don't got enough money, or who the fuck they think they is. You know what I'm saying? It was none of that. Right. It was like, just, give me the record. Like Nelly did it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I do it for you. So it was always that type of love that he did. And that's how he got it back. Because, Lloyd and Duffel Bag Boys circle Player Circle. You know what I mean? Like 2 Chainz
That's
when he was
golf too. Whew.
That's why they did the album
Oh, I
together. That's
remember
why
that.
2 Chainz did College Grove with Lil Wayne when Lil Wayne, needed the help. You know what I'm saying?
I remember
Wayne couldn't release albums on Cash Money. He said, "Do an album with me, and I'm gonna give you the money for the record, and be a collaboration album." So it was just a way for him to earn during that time when everything else is on standstill. But that comes from him doing Duffel Bag Boy.
That's cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Remember, I'm gonna tell you what's going on in my life. At that point in time, I was running wild in the dirty streets of Schenectady. And I got jammed up. Something happened. I don't know. One day I came outside and the police kidnapped me. I swear to God, they locked me up on a Monday. And I didn't come home 4 years and a half later. They had me under the confines of torture and being tormented. But that's a whole other story. That's a whole other lifeline. So now I'm sitting in something called Schenectady County Jail. They don't got a radio. So I'm walking around. I'm freestyling on the gate. But before I left, we was having arguments like the king of New York, and now was Lil Wayne, because every time he turned around, he was on a hot track. He was on some mixtape, Black Republican with Joel Santana. He had baggy jeans and red bandanas on.
Yeah.
I get the downstate correctional facility. I hear Lil Wayne on the way to downstate because they play on the bus. I'm shackled, 40 of us. That's what the debt was talking about. And they're playing this Lil Wayne song. Lil Wayne's #1 in America. By the time I get in transit, going to upstate prison, I'm like, Lil Wayne shit was crazy. By the time I got the 5 points maximum facility, Millie was on that song, A Millie. Yo. And the crazy part about this was y'all put Max together in a matter of a year. You know what I'm saying? 18 months to a year.
Right there. I just want him to squeeze in, and we're going to give the mic back to you, Hip Hop. But, okay, so, again, the world is watching. They see that there's some type of friction going on at the home of Cash Money Millionaires. They don't know. But what they see is Lil Wayne starting to shop around, right? And he's looking for help. He's doing this publicly. He's like, I need help. So I want to know, were you involved in that? Because you did date back some. So, and then we hear that he has a meeting with Jay. And the vibe is kind of like, okay, if even Jay is giving him the baton saying, yo, if I got to pass this on, I'm going to pass it on to the other party.
I was there for that meeting. I set it up. I was, like that was the first time. That was in 4040 Club. Sure. Yeah. And that was the first time I met him. And it was basically he wanted to get out of his deal. So we was looking around at a few different places and stuff. So the J thing wasn't really clear on what it would have been. It could have been something on the management side. It could have been something on the him having his own label side, because the paperwork was still tricky with Cash Money. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But, he still was a fan of him. He still wanted to get in business with him in some kind of way.
Right.
By the time anything really got to that point of really happening, I don't think there was really anything that made sense. Because Wayne had to get out of the deal, so that's going to cost money. And then he had, the album, the new deal, and whatever that's going to cost to make happen. So it was, it was a pretty expensive deal. So, and he wasn't out. So it was just a matter of going back to them and fixing it. And that's when the whole thing got restructured and he became like President Carter. And, he started getting, everything back and everything as far as, just not just old royalties, but just moving forward, just everything was just lined up correctly, how he got paid, everything was, was set up until.
What was your affiliation with Carter 5 too? Please incorporate your involvement in any of that.
Carter 5, I really stopped working with him around Carter 3.
Oh,
Carter 3.
Okay. Blew up. Sorry, my bad. The one I keep saying Carter 5. The one that Millie was on.
Yeah. That was the one we started working with him on. Yeah, so that one, it was more of he did so much songs and had so much stuff. It was like just going through and picking records.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, this record, that record. The biggest decision was the Millie decision, basically, which it kind of all goes back to Streets is Watching.
Yes.
Because it was like an A side, B side. It was like a Millie and the other record, you know, the Love. So we knew the other record was going to be so commercial. Basically singing, you know what I'm saying? So we got to go all the way here.
Oh, Rock 96
on the Millie record, you know what I'm saying? So if you look at it, Streets is Watching is the B side for Sunshine.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was always a balance. It was always like an A and a B side, street commercial balance. Like, okay, this is for these guys. This is for these guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? For radio, to make a good video, to be able to do what it have to do. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, we're gonna satisfy this audience with a straight, probably no hook, hard beat, spitting, you know, street stuff on that record. You know, so the only time with Jay was real close was probably Do It Again and So Ghetto. Because, you know, Do It Again was like it was a street record too, just about. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
It was a club, but it still was a street record. And then So Ghetto, you know, with the B-side. But when we went to the South, the B-side was Big Pimpin'. And that's how Big Pimpin' became the single, because they kept playing it so much off the B-side.
Okay. I want to ask you a question specifically about A&R, because let me give a disclaimer right now. This might be touchy to some rappers, but I swear to God, I respect everybody. But when I look at the Locks, and this is not a jammed, loaded question to get us to shit on the Locks. I want us to look at the situation and the outcome of their career. The earlier in their career, everyone is looking at them and it's like, yo, y'all got the fucking talent. Why aren't your albums like really bubbling the way we feel that they should be bubbling? Right. And so my question is kind of this. Is there magic to A&R and where you have to think about not only the street response, but the club response? Because at the same time, you want to make money off the album, right? You don't only want it played in barbershops for free, right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. It used to be. It used to be. That was a tough time to make albums.
Yes.
Because you had to please a lot of different things at the same time. You know what I mean? You had all these different audiences and stuff. Because I always like to go back to Mama Said Knock You Out. Like that album formula is what a lot of the album formulas is. It was like Mama Said Knock You Out was a street record, right? And then he came with Boom and System, which was a car record.
Right.
Then he came with Round Away Girl, which was a girl record.
Forget about it.
You know what I mean? Then he had the Farmers Boulevard Posse record.
Yeah, yes.
He had the disc record, Chill, Eat 'Em Up.
Remember, he killed him. He killed Ice.
Right.
Kumo.
And then he had a
and
killed
wife
him
at
up,
the same
killed him.
time. You know what I'm saying? Killed him at the same time.
So then he had, you know, a few like concept records, you know what I'm saying? Cheesy rap. And then he had another girl record, like a more even just for girl, you know what I mean? The 6 minutes joint. So it was kind of like, okay, you needed your radio, you needed your club, and he had the Jingle and Baby remix. Get that. That was the club record. Jingle and Baby remix. We know how that went. You know what I'm saying? So from that point on, it was kind of like these type of records. Sometimes people threw a house record in there. Sometimes people threw, you know, a good positive record. Sometimes you had to have a blatant positive record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That they could really, you know what I mean? Because labels had to like use these records as vehicles to get you to you know what I mean, to your audience. So like, we need a clean one. Okay, we need something that could play in the clubs. Okay, we need something, you know what I'm saying? Like, so during that time, you was pleasing a lot of different and then then the regions came into play. Because before you could just make what you make and that's that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You wasn't appealing to anybody else. But by the time we got to records like Dynasty, you know, we had producers like Rock. We was doing Dazza, you know what I mean? We was working with other people. The next thing you know, the South sound is taking up a portion of hip hop, and you can't ignore those things. So it's like, so sometimes you have to find your way in because
the lane.
That audience is not just listening to like hip hop when like in the 80s, everybody in Atlanta was listening to Run DMC.
Yes.
Everybody in LA was listening to Run DMC. Everybody in Houston was listening to Run DMC. But then later on, it was kind of like, okay, I'm listening to Outkast. Okay, I'm listening to Black Moon. Okay, we're listening to Compton Most Wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're listening to Ghetto Boys. And
Scarface, exactly.
Yo, people in Chicago, they're listening to Crucial Conflict, Do or Die. You know what I mean? So everybody started to get more regional. So now you have to incorporate not just the formats as far as club, radio, street, all of that, being lyrical, appealing to that core hip hop fan base where it's like, okay, whatever Rakim and them used to do, the whole album. You know what I mean? We want to do that in some kind of way. That's why you get your 22 twos and your, you know, the records where you just flossing, where they just, you know, going in lyrically, something conceptually that's like, okay, wow, nobody did that before. Just something in that vein. You want to be able to do that, tell a story, do some shit that's gonna you know, create different elements of the album. And I think to get to what you were saying about someone like the Locks or certain albums, artists like that, is that they might have a sound. So when you got a sound, it's harder to make a good album because it's not as much diversity. You know what I'm saying? It's like it becomes, you know, a little redundant after a certain point. If you know, I mean, you got to really hit it right every time. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at DMX, the first one was the one because it was a little bit of Swiss. You had Grease, you had PK, you had like, you know what I mean? It was different stuff. You had Irv. So you had a record like Get At Me Dog, which is an EPMD record, right?
Right.
Then you got a record like Stop Drop, which we never heard before.
Right.
You feel me? So you got a record that you heard before and a record that you never heard before in the same record. So that's big, and he's preaching, and he's got a Damon in. You know what I mean? So it's like the album is action packed. So it's like when I'm looking at a good album, my I guess template is NWA Niggas for Life.
That was me.
That did it for me. That was the one that was like, this is better than all the albums I heard before this.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why he said that.
The skit, the action, the beats, the lyrics.
Disrespect. Used to write about it.
Just moved at a certain pace. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean, of it. Then it had the last song, had the Days of Way Back where it had the slow down, reminiscent record at the end that became something everybody did. You know, intro records. You know, just that whole format of that interludes. You know, just that. Yeah.
Interludes disrespectful. He killed Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? He was killing you. He was killing him.
They were killing them. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It was like it wasn't no dull point. So that's really the whole thing. Like you don't want to have no dull points, no songs where it's like people start to cringe, or songs where you like, skip real quick. You know what I mean? So it's like it's trying to be cohesive but still being different. So it's that fine line. So it's like for artists who do have the same sound and they are in a certain place, that could work. Like a Too Short or someone like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he could keep doing Too Short because he's not trying to be in New York. Like we never listened to Too Short in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Until later.
Until later. You know what I'm saying? Like into the song with Little Kim. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But back then, we listened to like King T. You know what I'm saying? We listened to MTA. You know what I'm saying? But we listened to their music. I heard MCA on like a Ron G. You know what I mean? Like on regular tapes. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll be on regular mixtapes with these records. Scarface, obviously. You know what I mean? These are things that sonically fit right in. But then when you get to like quick or too short, it's like that sounds like California.
That sounds like exactly.
That's what's
You know what I'm saying? So it was like even NWA to me didn't sound like California.
It was out
You know what I'm saying? Later on, but it wasn't like
because they got that classic synthesizer. They used the synthesizer
too. It was Public Enemy influence as well.
Yeah.
So they were still heavy into that, you know, making beats, being hardcore.
Right.
And it's funny because he said the Niggas for Life album was his inspirational album. Right? When I was younger, my friend went to Seward Park and he bought a bootleg mixtape. And he went to the school like, yo, this is a group called NWA. And the feds shut them down because they made a song called Fuck the Police. So I don't know who Eazy-E is, because the only thing we know about Eazy-E was they played on Video Music Box with this retarded video they call He Does It. He's in a jail cell. Yeah. So he ain't no mind. So I'm like, he goes, Eazy-E, that's in that video that we see he's in the group. Yo, played the song on the radio, bro. Straight out of Compton, F the Police. This is no lie. Norman Thomas High School. We played 2-3 tracks. We wound up having a rumble in the jungle. We shake it after that because it was just so hype. Because from that day on, I was an NWA fan. To the point where how they affected the culture was we started wearing black at 100-degree weather. You know what I'm saying? We started getting the hats with those certain letters. We started becoming that culture. St. Ives, we said forget old gold. We drinking the St. Ives.
We drinking St. Ives. We started wearing the Timbs, the leather black Timbs, the chocolate joint. We started wearing those joints. Yeah, with the Dickies. It got crazy out here.
Yeah. And that was my generation of NWA. Now think about it. By the time he got there, he mentioned King T, like he said, but Alert used to play him on the radio. He had a song about MC Breeze. We love funky piano. We love that. We love He was killing. Like he was the gangster rapper to us before Snoop. Other than NWA, to a lot of us, we heard him
for sure, 100%.
Well, when Ice Cube broke from NWA, Ice Cube had it on lock out here too. Gorillas in the Mist album.
Ice Cube had it on lock too.
For sure. On lock.
No, definitely. Because Ice Cube will be here. Like Ice Cube, you'll see. Like I see Ice Cube in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Like that's was the first time I seen. You know what I'm saying? I seen him and South Central Cartel, like them type of dudes. You know what I mean? I remember seeing guys with the button right here.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
In Harlem, like straight from LA. They was with Zip. They was with Von Zip. They was with Von Zip uptown. I mean,
uptown.
On 7th, like 7th and 8th, right on there.
Yeah.
Like, that was about LL Cool J. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. LL Cool J dropped the album called Walking with a Panther. At that time in hip hop was transitioning. He had a song called Going Back to Cali, Ripper. Those songs wasn't going nowhere, right? He had a song on the album called Jingling Baby. Him and Marley Marl linked for the greatest remix in hip hop history. Walking with a Panther, Marley Marl remixes Jingling Baby, which becomes a classical hit, and they make that album, Mama Said.
And then he did the whole album, Mama Said Knock You Out.
Off a remix. Marley Marl made a remix. Now check it. Y'all see hip hop beats, right? They claim LL Cool J had beef with Marley Marl over some MC Shan beat by the situation. This is the beef. They beefing with LL Cool J. There was no real beef because when Marley made Jingling Baby remix, that's even LL saying to this day, this saved my career. Double platinum, 4 Grammys or 2 or 3 Grammys. The album he just said, I remember when Jingling Baby came out, Poison just came out.
Where was you, Zeke? Where was you when Jingling Babies came out?
When Jingling Baby came out, I was on 99th Lexington Avenue. My cousin pulled up. I went to Albany, New York. That's what I first all.
Nigga, did you go to a house party when Jingling Babies came
Jingling
out?
Baby. I was doing
that party was nuts.
Bus stop. It was crazy.
Definitely.
You was doing bus stop. Now listen. Jingling Baby was popping. Another song came out when I was doing the Running Man for 2-3 hours. It was called Poison. Now check this funny part out. Cool G Rap made a song when he put in jail called Poison. I listen to Cool G Rap straight on.
Poison.
That's an actual G Rap song.
Yeah, they sampled G Rap.
They just rap, sir. He
He
said
get money for that. I heard he get money for that. I think.
how that jacket.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
That's crazy.
That was the
That's
Brown. Let me tell you something. Back then, it was cool to long Mickey Mouse shirts with Timberland mocks. You got away with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That might have been Jingling Baby. Might have been the last song niggas danced to.
Yeah.
Word, man. That party, that time got the party
It was
so
over. It
live.
was over after that.
Okay, it's a
Right
couple
after
of
that.
it was a couple of songs that got the party live, and I'm gonna name 3 that I know, and y'all might got more. But when I went to these house parties, I went to a party. Jingling Baby set it off, right? But I'm gonna tell you 2 more. I can at least put it in your mouth, all right? That was another one.
Yeah. Well,
But let me tell you the one that shut it down. Yeah, that's later. But the one, I'm just naming 3 that really shut it down. That one, he wasn't even from here, man. Shout out to Uncle Luke in the building, nigga. When that fucking, when Uncle Luke came on, nigga, forget.
Charlie D, you took him someplace else right now.
Yeah, he took it somewhere else. And it's not even Luke.
Like him was raw bass with it takes
It's a 4-song run. It's a 4-song run that comes like you can't just play Luke. You got to play like it's a couple joints you got to play. It's like at least 4 or 5 Luke records they're gonna play in a row. They might throw in Doing the Butt. They might throw in, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna throw in all of that, all the close records. All the close records the same.
But when you hear I gotta call you hip hop. Keon is in there, but I gotta call you hip hop. When you hear that, I wanna rock out. You just know, no matter where you at, get to that goddamn dance floor. Yeah. Something stupid is about to happen and you want to be a part of it. That's all you know.
Yeah, you're right. That might have been one of the first ones that made people move. Like, okay, people starting to like scramble. Like you gotta you miss out on something like musical chairs. It's like musical chairs. You ain't got no. You gotta get your partner. Your partner because y'all about to do the freakiest shit in the room, and if you don't got the one you want, it's like damn. Like you said, it's musical chairs. Where's she at? Where's she at? Because somebody about to grab something else. You might come up on something else on that record. You might be like,
that was the era. It's so funny because speaking about this hip hop and how it affected everybody, right? I remember, like you said, 1989. I'm on my Lost Corner. It's Easter Sunday. We all got Uptown. So we all want to look like New Edition. We had Uptowns on some good jeans and some bright ass shirts. So now, at this time in hip hop, that one of the hottest groups, as crazy as this sound, as soon as we was jumping dudes, digging pockets, but look at the logistics of 89. Listen, Jungle Brothers, De La Quest, Queen Latifah, and Moni Love.
That's what I was gonna say. When you said the record I was gonna say that I remember in the clubs was JB's Coming Through.
Yeah, JB. Well,
that and 360, the Grand Poobah joint.
Yes.
Boom, yeah. Here's just one thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Them was like the first clubs I went to. Like those were the records when I got into the clubs.
That
year, like 92, 93.
I was supposed to go to the Ritz. The Ritz was a popular hip-hop club that dudes would go to on our holidays. So dudes on my block was going to the Ritz. The Puerto Ricans and the blacks together was going to go party, have a good time at the Ritz. My cousin, who was on college radio, he had just crossed the line for the Kappa Alpha side. He told me about college parties. I don't know nothing about college. I remember college was the last on my mind. That was a young, I was now I call it young man. So he goes, listen, free food, free partying. You ain't got to be out all weekend long. I bring you with me to Auburn State University. Yo, my man, I went to a college party every night. It was crazy. Fraternities was peaceful, no shots. I had to be tough. I had a good time, bro. And that's what made me want to go to Albany.
I wanted to ask him, that was my next question to hip hop. Okay, college radio, and if you can explain to them the importance of college radio. And I want the audience to walk away with something. I want to know if that same formula is able, do you think that same formula can be applied today? The way we use college radio back in the day. Can a new artist now use that same formula and be successful?
That's interesting. I don't know if it's college radio, but it's definitely that same concept of college radio and mix show and mix tapes, where it's like, okay, it's other ways to get to the big lists or the big, platform. So if you look at it in this way, I would say playlists is the thing now, right? You want to be on Rap Caviar, right? Everybody want to be on Rap Caviar.
Okay.
So Rap Caviar would be top 40. That would be regular rotation. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find the college radio to Rap Caviar. Okay. Like, what's the places that I could get to? Because college radio, it's accessible. You know what I'm saying? It's like they not stuck on this one playlist. They trying to do new things. They want to mess with people that might come to the show. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you deal with people on the level where you are, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
to where it's like, okay, you could try to get to the radio and talk to Angie, but you're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? So, you why not go stretch and light it up with Big L and come back again with Jazz No, then come back again with somebody else. And the next thing you know, when you somewhere else, it's like, oh, I remember him. You know what I mean? So it's basically building up fan bases in different clusters. So college radio lets you do that because you're talking to like, a real intelligent class of people that's, that want to hear new stuff. Like when you're in college, you reach in that level of, okay, I'm not listening to what everybody else been listening to all my own. But you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to find new stuff. I want to get into rock. I want to get into something else. I'm reading books. I'm getting into Malcolm X. I'm getting into, you know what I mean? So all these new things is coming into play. So your mind is open to really taking new things. So a lot of the college DJs. So when I started, I took Ain't No Nigga Dead Presidents to #1 on college radio.
Wow, nice.
So that was a big thing because what that did is now you on a list that other people in the same book, but it's a different list. So now you on a #1 on college radio list. So the other list is top 40, R&B list, it's a hip hop list. So now the hip hop list is looking like, Dad, what is this record right here? That's #1 in college radio.
Right.
So if you reach the top of that, that's kind of like a guarantee. You know what I mean? Like being All-American in college. You know what I'm saying? It's like you almost guarantee you're going to get drafted. Maybe not lottery, but you know what I mean? You ain't going to be All-Americans and not get drafted. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to be a real,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's real random. Somebody's just going to be like, fucking, let's just put him on a summer league team, see if he make it through. You're at least going to get summer league and stuff like that. Yes. So it's really that sort of tactic where you attack something that's attainable. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whether it's something local, whether it's something like a playlist from somebody like you could have a playlist that people could get on your playlist that will help get them in the rotation. Now, the playlist is like, you popping up in the algorithms now. So it's kind of like that type of way of approaching it. Like, okay, let me approach YouTube people that's doing reviews and get their fans. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going to magazines. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But let me do that aggressively. That would be like the difference. That would be like the equivalent of college radio. Just like really attacking what you really could reach. You know what I'm saying? And really like saturating that market or whatever that is to the point where, like I said, mixtapes came in after that or at the same time, I say.
Right.
But mixtapes, the difference was that mixtapes was like undetected. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like
they wasn't scanning or recording the metrics of mixtapes the same way they was with college radio. Yeah.
But the impact was so crazy that they didn't even know. That's why when shit hit, certain niggas hit the clubs and it's like, what is this song? Why are they playing this? Like I remember when Jay did Can I Live the first time we was in Virginia, and he was like, I'm gonna try this new record out. They already knew the shit from DJ Clue. He didn't even think, you know what I'm saying? They like, Can I Live? You know what I'm saying? He's like,
y'all going crazy.
You know what I mean? This shit, because you thinking like, okay, it's on the radio there. That's it. You look at the charts, you see how you're doing in certain regions. And that and it usually translate back then. It was easy to translate. You're getting 40 spins in DC, you're gonna be getting called there for a show soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's just that type of thing that was easy to pull apart. But when you're looking at it from Virginia, that was a connection. That was like a New York thing. That was like our, you know what I mean? That was damn near like we fucked with VA more than we fucked with like places like Philly and Delaware and DC, which is closer. But it was a certain New York VA connection at that time where the how Hampton, I don't know what it was, but it was something that the mixtapes was there. Because I was with SNS a lot and we stayed in Hampton. We stayed in Hampton. We stayed in that area doing parties. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably what it was. You mentioning that. It was probably college students bringing it down to that area.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Because I remember being in first time I ever heard of Master P was on the campus of Howard University.
Wow, shout out to Howard.
You know what I mean? I was just there. Jay was performing 96. You know what I'm saying? He was performing down at the Howard Homecoming.
That's
My
right.
man was going there. So I stayed a couple days. So, you know, we moving around, going to this dorm.
Yeah. I was there.
We go to like a party that's basically like a South party. It's like a South house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh shoot, this y'all playing? They playing Bout It and Ice Cream Man.
Right.
Other South stuff that I'm like, damn, okay, I heard it. I seen this ad in the source, but I never heard it. I never heard it. It's like putting the faces, because back then you had that, like the faces will precede the music. I seen Trick Daddy before I heard Trick Daddy.
That's right. That's right.
I seen Master P before I heard Master P.
That's
so
right.
It was kind of like, oh, Master P is like, I know that name. You know what I'm saying? It was already
it was in the club
in my head as the name that I seen in the source in the ad on the food stand or all these colorful ads.
Right.
So you was connecting the dots, because if you wasn't like in these magazines, you wasn't really in hip hop.
At this time. That's right.
You wasn't in hip hop.
That's right.
It was like, you was on the outside. You know what I mean? Like if you wasn't being written about or have enough money for an ad, or if you wasn't coming across this video channel station,
right.
You know what I'm saying? There was no way for us to know.
There was no internet. That was our internet. Yes, that was our internet. You walked around with your Source magazine all the time. You understand?
All the time, bro.
That's like the guy they talking about from Thing. Like there was no way for us to hear the Notorious B1.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? It was like I never seen them in the source.
That's it.
Video was never on raps or no nothing. So it's like, you know what I mean? It would have had to been like literally a demo tape that they had. You know what I'm saying? That would have to be the only way. You know what I'm saying? But as far as hearing it, because we knew Big L used that sample before Biggie did.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was a given. Everybody knew that. That was, you know what I mean? We seen Puffy's like, oh nah, hold on, he ain't using that right. Let's flip this up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And boom, you know what I mean? The barge joint, the one more, you know what I mean? Boom, you know what I'm saying? So that's not against him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? To do that, that's his thing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't more of that, but I was just saying that to say that though if you wasn't in these books or on these shows, it was hard for people to even say you was a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
At that time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that validation was like, okay, I got to spend some money for this ad. I got to do this. I gotta drop this album. I got to reach a certain point. It's almost like the pros. It's like, okay, you played college, but unless you get a basketball card, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you ain't have a basketball card, I don't know if you really was a pro. It's like I don't know. It's questionable. Right. Now we can look on basketball references and find everybody who ever played a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But back then, you know what I'm saying? We have to come across your card, see you in the magazine, look on the roster, the program, and it's like, okay, cool, that's so and so. Bet. You know what I mean? But it was hard to really even be a part of something. So that's why, kind of like going into the college radio thing, what you were saying of just what that was, is really just an entry level into it. Because if you think about it, the biggest college radio show was Stretch and Barbito, and that was a big entry level for a lot of artists who couldn't get to that next day. They couldn't get right in the rotation, right on the radio, right into any of that. And they always there first. You know that whole era. It ain't a motherfucker who didn't come through there.
Talking about sorry, go ahead. You think you was about to say something?
You know what I like? I like that he was able to have a hip hop conversation. See, so long without slander, slang, no disrespect to nobody, just a good old hip hop conversation. Brought up touchy topics, but there was no disrespect because we're not looking for that. We're talking about hip hop and our experiences at certain times. And that's just resetting the room, letting people know that this is a hip hop conversation. This is hip hop since 1978. Josh,
legendary A&R, legendary A&R. Yes,
he's Rocafella Records' first A&R. He executive produced Kanye's first album, a lot of projects. He also was instrumental in what we would call one of Lil Wayne's most classical albums, which had a Millie on it, the joint with Corey Guns. That album that changed the game to what now is drill music, but that was drill then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It changed the look of the game, the other than Jim Jones, the look. And it was a New York inspiration. This is the man behind it. You know, plus a lot of GT projects. So just resetting the room.
I just got one more last question. Because I know we're running 2 hours here. My last question is: we were speaking about transition, and we could go into those nostalgic moments where we watch hip hop, the birth of it, our time involved in it. But now we're you would have certain people called the fourth industrial revolution, where there is a transformation of things. So what can we expect to see you involved in? What are you looking to be more involved in? Can we look to see you maybe enter the film world or some of these projects there, or more music? What's on your radar, hip hop?
I've been working with Griselda for the last couple years.
Wow.
Woo. Yeah, I've been working with Benny. I co-manage Benny and Westside Gun with my partner Chase.
Benny is fire.
So I've been doing that. I'm starting to write more, and definitely gonna like you said, I'm doing a podcast coming soon that's about New York and Virginia.
That's good.
And
That's good. Yeah.
Teddy Riley, Timberland, Neptunes, Clips, just that whole. There's a lot of connection between that whole thing, but it's really telling the story of '90s and hip hop and R&B kind of like coming together. Because as you know, early '90s it was like completely separate. You might catch a rapper on a song every now and then, but by the time we was in 2000s, it was damn near interchangeable. Like singers was rapping, rappers was singing.
Shout out to Father MC. Father MC kind of set that off right there, man. Eddie F. You understand that, Father? I was in love. I was in love with that. Yeah, Mount Vernon, man. But they really put their foot down when it came to bridging hip hop and R&B, man.
100%. Yeah. So it's definitely that story of those people, you know what I'm saying? But then how it kind of like started there with the whole Uptown thing, Teddy, you know what I mean? Andre, that was always his vision.
Yes.
Was to bring that together, all the way from Dr. Jekyll
and Mr. Hyde. That's right.
You know what I mean? Because he'll always tell you his influences from Kingdom, Force of Projects.
Yes.
You know what I mean? DJ Ronnie Green, rest in peace.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was one of my coaches. You know what I'm saying? But that was one of their DJs, one of the main DJs for Harlem World crew.
Yeah.
And during that era and stuff. So he would see that happening. And he always said, I want to make that in the music game. You know what I mean? Just that, the street look of it. Because if you think about it, that's the first time that look really came about. And it really came about with God, to be honest.
Blowouts, glasses.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like God was looking way more street than most hip-hop artists was looking at the time. But like street, like money, though. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a custom denim jacket.
Yeah, a custom leather. You know what I'm saying?
MCM, because God was wearing the MCMs.
Exactly.
MCMs?
The MCMs and all that. They wearing Dapper Dan. They doing all of that. And they, but they took it to the next level because even when they had the suits on, it was like, okay, that's a mean suit too.
That's a mean suit.
The dancing, the slick, you know what I mean? It was like Italian type shit. It wasn't like no downtown suit. It was like, they shit was like, you know what I mean? It was a different type of thing. So just from that, and then you look at what Puffy eventually did with Jodeci.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? giving them that look to where it was like they was looking like us, but singing, on a whole nother tip. So it's kind of like just showing that whole hip hop and R&B really basically merging into one, to where when it starts, it's basically like friction, just about like whatever, these rappers, whatever, you know what I mean? We opening for them and shit like that.
Right.
Later on, it's Puffy and Usher way over, you know what I mean? Opening for Puffy, you know what I'm saying? So it just table just turned in a lot of ways, but through that combination of music. So I'm working on that project. That's like an Amazon thing, but it's gonna be hopefully everywhere.
Nice.
You still direct Def Jam.
Yeah, so I don't really do like as much label stuff or any work with anybody like that. I kind of just work with artists directly and help them out.
Okay.
Yeah, so I felt that was always my thing because I started at an indie label, so I was always right next to the artist. And like, this is what you want to do? Okay, cool.
Let's go.
This is what you want to do? Yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? Wayne, this is what you want to do? Let's go. So it's kind of like I got to get that inspiration and vision from them to even start. So the only person that really got me back in it was West Side Gun, because he had that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, all I need you to do is this, and I got it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and we knew each other for years. I know him for years, for like 5-6 years now already.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of my best friends is Alchemist.
Shout out to Alchemist.
Yeah, shout out to Alchemist, man.
So that's who I'm in LA right now. So that's who I'm with a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's like,
you know what's funny? I know we have to do this again. This is classical.
Oh yeah, for sure. We gotta
do this again. This is a good vibe. This is a good hip hop conversation. We got so much information. Like, look, he said
a lot.
Now check this story about Alchemist. Right? But these guys I grew up under, they used to go to Art and Time. Just talking about the 80s. And one of the guys' name was Illa G. Illa G was on a track that the Alchemist made with Mobb Deep and two twin sisters. It blew up. It blew. Illa G's from Brooklyn, but he would after school would come to my block 990X. These were the guys that had us wilding out. They were having Brooklyn era, Decepticon, baby axes, the orange lasers that went this long. It was crazy. And the influence that they had, but it was rapping. And they had a rapper called the Legion of Doom. Legion of Doom was DJ Deep Freeze, that some of y'all may know as Sub-Zero. It was G from Craig G back then, Sonny, a Wicked Wizard, and a kid named Jay Quest. Jay Quest sang in front of the president. Jay Quest is my best friend. He was on the Jason Lyrics soundtrack, and his song is on the Jason Lyrics soundtrack that went multi-platinum. He also had a record with Mercury Records. He was the Puerto Rican look that John B. that they turned John B. My man John Ramundi. The unique thing to say about this is when they was creating this rap group, Crazy was a part of the Legion of Doom. You had a guy named Zico from 1199, and he made a song called My Phone. That was their first radio play. My phone, again and again. My phone. And Deep Freeze, they made a song with a guy named Big Head No called Dudes.
That was back in the days, right?
Yes, like around 87.
87, yeah. Because my phone, I remember that joint. Yeah, I remember that shit. That shit was funky. Brucey B used to play it a lot.
Yeah, it was moving. So shout out to Sub-Zero, was been in the game for years. But he was known as DJ Deep Freeze. He used to write graffiti, Deep Freeze, EA. Like I used to write graffiti, Key PT. He mentioned MF Doom. I met MS Doom before he had a mask on because I used to write graffiti. When he went to the West Side, they had a crew called the CM Mob, Criminal Minded.
Yeah, Mob. Yeah,
definitely. I was cool with Dev. And CM would bring us to the Upper West Side.
Right. By the Goat Park, right? By 99.
Yes, 97. And all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Curious George.
And that guy, Lord Share, whatever his name
Lord Share, Curious George, and all of them.
Yeah, shout out from 94 from the Upper West Side.
You know Cotty?
I know him, bro.
Yeah, Spanish dude, yeah.
That was that side over the Upper West Side. So it's just hip-hop history. I met them through graffiti. Like bombing, being a vandal on the gate. You know what I'm saying? And these guys MF Doom became a big producer. Sons on Radio. Curious George became one of the first Puerto Rican hip hop rappers in the time of Fat Joe. Before that, you had Rico Suave. You know what I'm saying?
Right, you're right. Because I went to Joan of Arc, so I was right there. So I would see them a lot from that. You know what I mean? Just coming in. A lot of my friends went there. You know, that was like the GOAT Park. The GOAT basketball tournament was in there back in the days.
I don't want to cut this short. We have to do this again. Everybody available Sunday.
Yeah. Let's get up, man.
Let's get up next Sunday. We back on it. Let's do more hip hop history. This is dope. And this is going to transition to your podcast because we're doing this for the culture. Before we leave out, my name is Zeke Black. Beat the Wolves. I'm from East Harlem, Washington Projects, Lexington Houses. Shout out to my man John Monday. Taser, the guy, the first one to bring to the hip hop scene to a stage was my man John. You know what I'm saying? Jay Quest. That's that introduction. And right graffiti with the PT-131 crew, ACA Spoke and Kilo and all of them. That was my introduction to him.
Kilo?
Yeah, my man Kilo. He's right with Park ID.
Gotcha.
He actually he's black, but he look white with blue eyes.
Gotcha. I think I heard of him.
He lived on my block and he moved to Pelham Bay Projects. He's about the Clark ID and all that. He nice. Spawn was from around my way. SM was from around my way. TW lived with my grandmother. That's definitely saying it's almost time. So what you want to leave out with? Hip-hop and Saladin? You got to do this again next Sunday.
I'm gonna let I'll let hip hop close. I just want to say my name is Jamel Saladin, the same way it's spelled there. You could go to my YouTube channel. I also am a lo-fi hip hop artist. Lo-fi has a genre of its own. I decided to do a whole album called You Got to Chill Volume 1 on lo-fi. You can go check that album out. I do got like 3-4 albums out on all digital music distribution labels. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
he got that
yeah. He's out here making lo-fi beats, so I'm gonna talk to him behind the scenes and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, when I discovered that, I said, okay, nobody's rapping over these beats, and like hip hop said something earlier, it was like, okay, where am I though? Why is there only 2 categories? Either I got to be here or there. So when I seen lo-fi, I was like, yo, like I could be myself over here. So I want everybody to go check out that album, You Got to Chill, Volume 1 by Jamel Saladin. You can take us out, hip hop man.
Take us out.
Yeah. Shit. I just want to say, good looking to Zeke, man. I fuck with your show, fuck with your channel, man, and I came in contact at a tough time when my boy Chi-Chi had just passed, and you was the only nigga that really showed him love, basically, you know what I'm saying, on the whole internet, basically, you know what I'm saying? So that really, really hit me, and I just kind of just stayed tuned in from there because of so much connection from just the areas we from the time. So it's like the blocks, the clubs. So it's always good to just hear those things, you know what I mean, that you kind of remember, but it's just good to have that memory to put shit together and everything. So definitely, you know, I'm down to just have regular conversations about this shit, you know what I mean? Because I think it's like stuff we talking about in the era we talking about, it was quick, but it was real profound and how things is now. And it's a unique time to be able to see how things change. Because now at the time when we were living in it, it was like, you know, it was like whatever, but now that things is different. You really could look back at that time and it just, you know what I mean, it gives it a different vibe and a different whole storyline that I think need to be told or need to be discussed. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely here for it. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
Next Sunday we want to pop it.
Yes, sir. Free my main BR.
I want to hear some beats from you too, hip hop. You got music for me to listen to, bro?
We can't do it because
not on this. I'm talking about behind the scenes. I want some of your tracks, bro.
I got you. It's lo-fi.
Everybody in Clubhouse that supports like a Shooking Mentality, Knife, Gods and King, definitely Cloud TV on Clubhouse. These are Clubhouses. Cloud Chasers.
Yeah, Bravo, Fox 914, Versace, all that.
With that being said, just all the universal peace sign, because this is what hip hop's about. It brings the people together, no matter what generation. Peace.
Yes, sir.